agents wide latitude to arrest and detain undocumented immigrants and legal immigrants with criminal records. White House spokesman Sean Spicer.
The number one priority is making sure that people who pose a threat to this country are immediately dealt with. And this is not a small group of people. We're talking close to 1 million people who have already been adjudicated.
DHS will now hire 10,000 new immigration officers and also request new money to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Children brought here illegally will remain protected by DHS. Joe?
Thanks, John. Milo Yiannopoulos, the senior editor of Breitbart News, has resigned. It comes amid controversy over statements he made during a podcast that seemed to condone pedophilia.
I would be wrong to allow my poor choice of words to detract from my colleague's important job, which is why today I'm resigning from Breitbart effective immediately. This decision is mine alone. When your friends have done right by you, it's only right to do right by them. And for me, that means stepping aside so my colleagues at Breitbart can get back to the great work they do.
Riots broke out at Berkeley earlier this month when Yiannopoulos was due to give a speech. Authorities in Northern California warning of more possible flooding. Deputies going door to door at some places in Modesto, telling residents of the danger posed by the Tuolumne River. Heavy downpours in recent days swelled waterways already near or above flood levels.
There's been widespread heavy precipitation with some amounts, especially in the coastal ranges just south of San Francisco and into the foothills of the Sierra, upwards of half a foot of rainfall.
National Weather Service forecaster Michael Schichtel. Houston hospitals on lockdown after reports of shots being fired. There are no reports of any injuries at the Ben Taub Hospital. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Trump has spoken out about recent threats against Jewish community centers, calling them horrible and painful.
And a very sad reminder of the work that still must be done to root out hate and prejudice and evil.
The remarks made after Mr. Trump toured the newly opened National Museum of African American History and Culture. Nearly 1,000 protesters showed up at Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's stop in Anderson County, Kentucky, as he tours his home state.
Protests in our country are pretty common, and we respect everybody's right to express themselves. Now, I'm going to express myself. Why are they protesting? They didn't like the results of the election.
The protesters chanted, "No ban, no wall, Mitch McConnell, take our call," a reference to the senator's clogged voicemail system during the first month of Donald Trump's presidency. There are mixed reviews for testosterone treatment in older men.
The makers of testosterone supplements claim they do a lot to turn back the clock. A big study paid for by the National Institute on Aging finds, though, testosterone treatment does nothing to improve mental function or memory. There's evidence it may strengthen bones and reduce anemia, but it may also make artery disease worse. The Food and Drug Administration has asked supplement makers to conduct the additional research called for in this study of men 65 and older with low testosterone. Chris Foster, Fox News.
Wells Fargo's board of directors says it's firing 4 senior managers as part of its investigation into the bank's sales practices scandal. It also voted to deny any 2016 bonuses to the executives. They'll also forfeit any unvested stock and stock options. Wall Street, the Dow surging nearly 119 points today, again in record territory. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long, whether it's heating or air conditioning. Call the experts at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, overcast, a low of 48. Tomorrow, beautiful, sunny, high 70, a low of 50. Thursday, thunderstorms, high 65, a low of 57. Right now, overcast, 65 degrees and cloudy in Champaign-Urbana.
We haven't given up on the season. Nobody's down around here or anything like that. Still positive vibes, and we're all still giving it our all. So, we still have faith. We haven't, given up at all as a team.
No, we still got a lot of fight. A lot of dudes that still believe. Even though a lot of people have counted us out or think our season's over, we still think we can do a lot of great things. And our seniors still believe in us, the coaches, all the players, and just come in every day.
We talk a lot about a lot of different things in regard to controlling what we can control and focusing on one day at a time. We've used the analogy of climbing a ladder. It's one step at a time. If you start skipping steps, you'll fall pretty quick, and you don't want to do that. So one step at a time, enjoying every chance we have to spend together as a team with this particular team. I've really challenged them with that. But I think you're right. It's not easy. But not just easy for, I think it's for everybody to get kids 18 to 22 years old to lock in on one day at a time is challenging, but that's part of our role as coaches.
Malcolm Hill, Tijon Lucas, John Gross ahead of tonight's game at the State Farm Center. Illinois Northwestern, and I wouldn't call it a huge game, but I would certainly call it an intriguing one in a season, I should say, that has not had a whole lot of intrigue recently.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting game, and just interacting with fans on Twitter today, Carp, because I threw out a question that we'll get to in this first segment that I think a lot of Illini fans are conflicted right now with what they want out of this team. And, interacting on Twitter, some of them are, so far to one side and the other side, but there's a lot of people in the middle that are kind of conflicted. We'll talk about that. But yes, Illinois hosts Northwestern, 7 p.m. tip-off on Big Ten Network. Dave Revson and John Crispin will be on the call tonight.
More John Crispin.
And despite the Illinois angle to all this, Carp, Northwestern can make a lot of history tonight for their program. If they win tonight, they will set a single-season record for wins in a season.
Because they hit 20 against Rutgers,
They've hit 20 twice in their – this is now the third time. They've had 20 wins. They got 20 twice under Carmody and made the NIT. But this also would clinch the first time that Northwestern has finished over 500 in the Big Ten and the first time that they would have reached 10 wins in the Big Ten. Ever.
Unbelievable.
Ever.
For teams that if I had to think back to the 90s, I guess that was the Evan Eschmeyer era.
Yeah.
Ricky Birdsong is the coach, and I knew that there were the occasional competitive Northwestern teams, and Carmody seemed like the guy that was maybe going to get over that hump. And here we are in year 5, right, of Chris Collins.
Year 3, right?
I think 4 or 5. They struggled early. Maybe Carmody might have been here.
This is Collins' third year.
It's only his third year?
I mean, this has happened. Oh. This is what happens when you hire a great coach.
Unbelievable.
They can turn it around pretty quickly. 14 and 19 his first year.
Feels like he's been there forever.
15 and 17 their last year, and then 20 and 12 so far.
Wow.
No, this is his 4th year. You're right.
Oh, okay.
This is his 4th year.
Nonetheless, still impressive, right?
Yeah.
And this is why this is a tricky game to predict. I think Vegas has Illinois as 2-point home dogs.
Yes, underdogs.
Okay. And if you look at the recent success or lack thereof at the State Farm Center, who would have thought that would have turned, right?
Illinois has lost 3 in a row at home, 4 of their last 5 at home.
And they've won 2 in a row on the road. Who knew? If you would have told me that in January, I would have said you're crazy.
Yeah.
But here we are on a Tuesday. It is a 7 o'clock game, which means I'll go. If it were 8 o'clock, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I like to start decompressing around 9:30. So this is perfect time.
This is what I'm interested in, Carp, because I know where you stand as a fan. You want John Gross gone. You want the players to do well, and you want to see some progress for next year. But because it's Northwestern and because history is on the line, do you want to beat them tonight just so you're not that team to give them that history?
Yes. Oh, I cannot stand Northwestern.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing about this rivalry, if we can call it that.
So
now,
Carp will be all fanboy tonight.
Well, it is a little bit different. If this were an Illinois team, right, looking down the barrel of an NCAA tournament
If this were the
seeding
7-7 team that it should be,
yes,
this would be a huge game.
It'd be a huge game. It'd be a lot of fun over there tonight. And I think it still will be a pretty fun atmosphere. We'll see how many turn out, but I ultimately think it'll be a sneaky good crowd.
I think a 7 o'clock game instead of an 8 o'clock game helps.
Big difference.
I think the Northwestern factor. And then the next game at home, we got Michigan State for senior night. I mean, the crowds have actually been, even though they're lower than what they should be at the peak of this program that we know it should be, been pretty good. Given what this team has been this year.
Like Breitweiser said last week, that Penn State game at home, Illinois is down as many as 18, 19 points at a given time. And then they would get within 13. And I remember listening to the radio and thinking, all right, are they turning the crowd mics up?
No.
Or are they actually being this loud?
Fans are so hungry. They are so hungry for success.
They are.
They're so hungry for success. But as an Illinois fan, you want them to beat Northwestern tonight. Would you root for Northwestern to beat Indiana then on Saturday? So Indiana gives Northwestern that history, or do you want Northwestern to keep losing?
No, I want Northwestern to keep losing.
Okay.
It's not that cute to me. It never will be that cute to me. And I think it's a few things. I remember being young and hearing about what the Northwestern fan section would say to Deion Thomas.
Yeah.
Now, he's a good-natured guy, so he goes there to do a live broadcast for BTN, and, of course, he keeps his cool. But I just remember everything, not everything, but a few things that fan base will do reeks of we are superior.
Yeah.
And that's fine, and this is why sports are fun.
It's like Duke without the winning.
Exactly. That's a great analogy right there, and that's why Chris Collins is a good fit for it. And it's no offense to him, but that is the perfect Northwestern hire that even with the success he's having up there, I would not necessarily want him here.
He's a perfect fit there.
Personality does matter, and I think that fits up there.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick aside before
I agree with you, and when we talk about who Illinois is going to hire, I think personality matters. I think that matters to a fan base, to where you're recruiting, all those things. That's when we talk about fit. I mean, we use that loaded term, that 3-letter word, fit. I think Lovie Smith kind of fits what Illinois is looking for, especially a Josh Whitman program.
Yeah.
What will be the basketball fit will be interesting, but I agree. I don't think Chris Collins would be that. I don't think Frank Martin is that kind of guy.
I'd agree.
I don't think Bruce Weber was a good fit for what this program needed.
Yeah, and it worked for 3 years.
Short term, yeah.
Because you were winning so many games, and Bruce was cute when you're going 37-2, and you're winning outright Big Ten titles. But
I don't think Illinois should have that underdog mentality.
Not at all. Quick aside before we get to this Twitter question you had, which I think is a really good topic, and it was interesting to see these results kind of file in. Back to Chris Collins. Were you watching the end of that game on Saturday on Big Ten?
The Rutgers game, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You know my thoughts. You know my thoughts on it. Started with Tyler Hainsborough's parents.
Yeah,
I don't need to see the family, but they kept panning to Doug Collins nonstop.
Yes.
And not only that, it was not.
Are
just
you angry at Collins or are you angry at Big Ten Network?
It's a mix. Here's why.
because I think it's awesome. I think watching his agony is very entertaining.
Did it not seem overly demonstrative?
No, I think that's. Carp, ask your dad.
Fair enough.
Like if you're having your first, like if you're at a big show,
right? Okay.
How nervous is your dad?
And then we're 2 songs in, the equipment's malfunctioning.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh God, no, this can't be happening to them," which is kind of like losing to Rutgers.
So now, as a father, I have a different perspective of this.
Okay.
Right? I think if my kid was coaching, I would be less demonstrative, but my wife would be doing what Doug Collins was doing. Last night. I think I'd be nervous, and I'd probably be standing there like. Pacing, things like that. I probably wouldn't be overly doing that kind of stuff, but it's kind of like seeing some of the parents in the Olympics, like the gymnasts.
Okay.
Austin's girl, Allie Raceman's parents.
That's
By the
right.
way, Allie Raceman in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit, he's giving me the okay. His girl, Allie Raceman.
Has that been delivered yet?
Yeah, I got it in the mail.
Could you bring it tomorrow?
Did you not get Sports Illustrated swimsuit?
I don't get Sports Illustrated.
You can go get it at your local newsstand.
They're like $8 now. I'll Google it.
Do newsstands still exist?
They do, yeah. If you go to like CVS or something like that. Okay, so fair enough. Doug Collins with a natural fatherly reaction.
You know why you don't like it? Because it's Northwestern having success.
Oh, it's a little bit of that. But
and
you know what's funny?
Doug Collins is great for that program.
It's fantastic. I don't necessarily have any beef, though, with the players on Northwestern. They're a pretty likable team. And McIntosh is everything that... He is Aaron Kraft, except not as unlikable. I had Aaron Kraft fatigue. For whatever reason, I don't have
I think
McIntosh
that's another
fatigue.
media thing.
Yeah, I would
media
say so.
loving on him for his scrappiness.
Mm-hmm.
But McIntosh, he's not a very efficient player.
No.
But he makes big plays. He just makes big plays, and you see what a point guard has done for that program. I mean, that's the best point guard. I mean, Michael Thompson was a 2 guard who was 5'7". They haven't had a point guard like that who's just a dynamic player, and that's what Illinois has been lacking for so long. That's why it's so fun to watch Tay-John Lucas right now.
So with a game like tonight, there's kind of a catch-22 involved in it. Now, I was going through this process throughout the Big Ten season when it became clear that this team was not going to be tournament bound. And I was in that precarious spot as a fan where I'm deciding, okay, what am I really rooting for here? And even getting to the point in a couple of select games where it got to the end and I'm thinking, I don't know for long term if I want them to win this game.
Like
Iowa. Well, but here's the difference, I think. Penn State, I think, ultimately ended this era. Not as a single game. It was a collection of things that all led up to that Saturday afternoon where you got bum rushed at home by Penn State.
Yeah, I think the blowouts on the road killed you. And then losing at home to both Minnesota and Penn State back to back.
Right.
And then if you lost tonight to Northwestern, I think there's no doubt.
Yeah, so that's why the Iowa game was a lot less of that sort of, do I really want them to win than previous games? Because in my mind, it seemed like it was such a stretch that even if they won the Iowa game, that was going to change any sort of fortune going forward. I thought the Penn State game effectively ended it, and that's with no source or anything like that, just a gut feeling that was it. But nonetheless, you are still looking at how many remaining?
4 winnable games.
4 winnable games at 5-9 in the conference.
And plus a Big Ten tournament game that should be winnable for you, too.
Right. So if you win this, then maybe those nerves start settling in again, and then I'm questioning tomorrow morning, did I really need that little endorphin rush of beating Northwestern at the and sacrificing instead what I hope is long-term change?
So you are a conflicted Illini fan.
Yes.
Because you don't wish ill will on this team. I don't think you wish ill will on these players. I think you just want the coach gone.
Yeah.
You want a new era.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of fans are conflicted like that. So today I tweeted out, as an Illini fan, what are you hoping for the rest of the year? What are you watching for? And do you feel conflicted about this team? And we got a lot of good responses through Twitter. And if you want to weigh in on this, we'd love to talk about this with you. You can call the Jupiter's Crossing phone line or text the Cheap Hour text line at 217-359-2255. Tommy tweeted in, as bad as I want Malcolm to get to a tournament, it's best long term if they just go quietly into the night. So it sounds like Tommy's rooting for a loss.
I'd say that's right. And the thing is, you're so far behind the 8 ball that a tournament is so unlikely at this point. And not just making the tournament, knowing the level of fan disinterest, knowing how much money and revenue you stand to lose if you continue with this path, season tickets, donors, whatever it may be. It just appears obvious to me now, and that's why, ironically enough, I can go to the game tonight and root for this team without that sort of quandary.
Heaviness.
Yeah.
Tommy goes on to say, maybe struggle to finish the regular season and then a deep Big Ten tournament run to get that postseason feel, then we miss the tournament ultimately.
Well, I think...
So Tommy's saying, like, lose 3 or 4 here so you finish, what? That'd be 6-12 in the Big Ten. I think you'd have no doubt. But then win, like, 3 games in the Big Ten tournament, so it's like, oh, we could win this thing, and then fall short.
Well, I think, let's flip that, right? If you want to be sure that there's going to be a change, have the fake rally now. And then lose immediately in the Big Ten tournament. Because
go 8-10.
You don't want to rattle off 4 wins in 4 days in the Big Ten tournament and then think, here it is. We can hold on to that and move forward.
And then Patty tweeted, I'm rooting for them to win every game, 1 game at a time. I always watch. I love the game. I root for them all the time to win. And that's great.
That's great.
And for a guy like Malcolm Hill or Mav Morgan, I would love to see those guys in the tournament. I would love to cover that story.
Mm-hmm.
If this team rattled off 6 wins in a row, makes the NCAA tournament, and hey, they win a game or 2, that'd be a fun story to cover. I don't think it's happening.
Well, because we could fall in this trap very easily of you follow a road win, you come home against a team that you could beat, right?
I think they should beat Northwestern tonight because Scotty Lindsey, even though he's back, he's got mono, and that's going to take probably weeks for him to get back to full strength. We've talked about that with our physical therapist, and it takes a long time to get back from mono. So this is the same team you won at beating Evanston. I think you should beat that team, especially being home. I think these 2 teams should have finished similar spots in the Big Ten based on talent and all those things, and coaching and all those things. But, I think you should beat this kind of team at home.
I've made reference to how the Bears under Mark Trestman, this situation is similar to me, where they got to a point where if they finish, I don't know, I think his final season they were 5-11, right?
Yeah.
And that maybe if they would have finished 7-9, they would have kept Mark Trestman. But the writing was on the wall with those blowouts at New England, at Green Bay, and that's why the idea of rooting for them every game In effect, it should be that simple. It really should be that simple. But it is not necessarily rooting against them so much as it is actively
rooting for change.
Well, yeah, and so much not actively rooting for them.
And that,
because you fear what the ramifications would be if they rattle off a few wins at the expense of what?
And that all assumes it matters. That the rest of this season matters to Josh Whitman. I think it will. I don't know how much. I don't think so.
I don't either. But.
I don't think so. And that's where a couple guys went. Jeff said, no conflict here. Think we've crossed the threshold for a coaching change. Winning is never bad. Will help players grow better programs. So he's rooting for him to win, but he thinks change is going to happen regardless.
And I agree that they probably have crossed that threshold.
Craig says, no conflict. If Minnesota can fire Tubby after first non-vacated NCAA tournament win in 23 years, Gross has to reach the Sweet 16 to be safe.
Well, I think with some certainty I can say they probably won't do that.
Dan, just hoping Gross leaves no doubt that this job is not for him. Michael, I want to see continued improvement from the players that will be here next year. Don't care if they win or lose. Mm-hmm. Dave, I have no doubt Gross is gone, so I'm rooting for the team to show improvement, especially the underclassmen. AJ, win or lose, many players are here in 17-18. Tourney seems unlikely. NIT equals more games. Wins help the experience for the freshmen. Zach, I'm always going to root for the Illini no matter how bad they are. I do not want them to lose, but I do want John Gross gone. And then Joey, I think it's crazy to be conflicted about watching your team. I'm rooting for us to win and win big. That is what's best.
But it's not best
if you don't think John Gross can have any success.
And the question I think on top of all
we got 5 years of a sample size of him.
Yeah, exactly. There was a quote yesterday from Gross about how predicting the future is a tricky business, right? And we all fall in that trap. And I wouldn't deny that fact. But at the same time, I think any predictions that we've made or any prognostications throughout this year have not just been based on this year. It's been based on a body of work.
Yeah.
And that's why
it should be.
If you could crawl into Josh Whitman's head and see where he's at. If I was told unequivocally that you are going to make a change because the basketball program requires that you do so, then I would be that much more excitable, active of a fan. I'm trying to think of a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I'd be that much more apt to go all out as far as rooting game by game.
If you're an NC State fan, you know change is coming.
Right.
So you're like, okay, well, let's win the ACC tournament. Let's get to the NCAA tournament, but I know a change is going to happen. But I don't think Whitman wants to do that. Very few schools do that. I don't know how much it helps you in the coaching search.
I don't think it would. All it would do is help my own personal psyche.
Because
but that doesn't mean anything.
Josh Whitman hasn't told us anything.
Nothing.
I mean, he could have already made up his mind. We don't know. And I don't think, you become Vlade Divac and you tell everybody we're not trading DeMarcus Cousins, and then you do, and you lied, and all these things. Things change.
Yeah.
So if you get a commitment from Ayo Dosunmu and Adam Miller and all the 5 prospects in the next couple weeks, you make it to the NCAA tournament because you win the Big Ten tournament. Think that's change. It's unlikely to happen.
Right.
Very unlikely to happen, but that would change your thoughts on things.
I'm going back and forth so much on tonight's game.
Which is why he couldn't say anything. Now, I think a change will be made.
Yeah, and I would agree.
And that's just my own personal opinion, not based on any inside information. It's just based on a 5-year track record.
And I think it's our natural inclination. I mean, we have to talk about sports for 3 hours a day, right? So we have to come up with the occasional hypothetical to kind of as a launching pad for discussion. And we are really running low on the hypotheticals, after the Northwestern win.
Oh, if you lose tonight,
yeah,
there's no more left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you win the Big Ten tournament, that's why John Gross got hired, was because he could win a bunch of games in a row in a weekend. It was usually 3 games in a MAC tournament.
Right, not 5.
That got him into the NCAA tournament, and then he won a couple games.
Right.
But his 4 years in Ohio were kind of unspectacular besides those weekends.
I remember that being kind of a red flag for a lot of people, and my initial thought was, okay, well, I will accept that. But
it was what happened to Ohio State for me, how he recruited.
Exactly. You mix that with March runs, and then you saw the first year with John Gross, which I think... if there was such a thing as a feel-good loss, it was that Miami game. And you felt like you were on the door and you had all this momentum with recruiting.
And even the Michigan game in the Big Ten tournament the next year. I mean, that team probably should not have made an NCAA tournament. They didn't, but they were on the doorstep of it.
Was not until the last few games of year 3 that everything changed, and it has not recovered since.
Yep. All right, if you want to weigh in, you can. Then that question, are you a conflicted Illini fan? What are you hoping watching for the rest of the year as Illinois takes on Northwestern tonight? We'll talk about that with Brad Sturdy, orangeandbluenews.com at 5:25. We'll also talk some NBA and Chicago Bulls. Will Jimmy Butler remain a Chicago Bull? Cody Westerland, our guy at 670thescore.com, will join us at 4:05. There's some NBA trade rumors being bandied about that we can talk about as well. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. Download the WSJK app. Watch us live on YouTube. Just search Tay and J Show. Get the podcast at ESPNCU.com or find us in iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. We're 3-day today. We got Tyler Knight, Harry Black, and Austin Berkland will be on updates. But Carp, the national guys, now weighing in on the possible opening for the Illinois job. So we'll talk about that coming up next,
yes,
too.
And I'm sure Illinois fans will not be too happy with some of the comparisons made.
Yeah.
I read the article myself last night. It is the Tay and J Show.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. From Charlotte, here's Dari Noka.
How do you make two completely irrelevant franchises, the talk of the sports-loving world, make a massive league-shaking blockbuster trade on All-Star Sunday night? A trade that happens to involve the team hosting the All-Star Weekend and the team whose superstar just took MVP honors by scoring 52 uncontested points in the game. Wow. Twitter almost broke last night when it was announced the Pelicans were getting big man DeMarcus Cousins from the Sacramento Kings in a major deal. In that deal, the Kings are getting 3 players and 2 draft picks. But who cares? The Pelicans can now put Anthony Davis, that All-Star Game MVP, and DeMarcus Cousins on the floor together in what will be, without any argument possible, the best front line in the NBA. What Sacramento does with Buddy Hield, Tyreek Evans, the other player, and its draft picks, who cares? The front office will find a way to mess up whatever they have. They, along with the Knicks and maybe the Browns, are clearly the most dysfunctional franchises in all of professional sports. Remember like 24 hours ago when Sacramento was going to keep Cousins? Yeah, me too. But for the Pels, well done. Go grab that 8th spot in the West and let's see. Let's just see if you put a little boogie into that first-round series against the Warriors. In 60 seconds, to think, I thought All-Star games were a joke.
AutoZone presents Peak Performance. Maximizing fuel economy, engine life, and overall performance doesn't take a lot. Thanks to field treatment and fluids from AutoZone. And right now, you can buy a 16-ounce bottle of Seafoam motor treatment for just $6.99. So visit your local AutoZone. With over 5,000 locations, the right supplies and good advice are just around the corner. Let's get you what you need. See store for restrictions and details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is for you to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
I have long lamented All-Star games. Baseball just took away the only minor meaning theirs had. The NHL's came and went with no promotion as usual. I didn't even know it had happened till the day after. And the Pro Bowl and the NFL, just get rid of that. Then came last night. Just when I thought All-Star games were a joke, the NBA played theirs. And Steph Curry actually laid down on defense. Physically, on the floor, laid down. Now, I know the NBA All-Star game is what it is, but could we have it look at least a little like organized basketball? That was a joke. Thank goodness for the trade that saved the night. With ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Dari Noka.
VersaBar, a world leader in the development of heavy lifting solutions, is a proud sponsor of the Mike Ditka Show. VersaBar is also a proud supporter of the University of Illinois and the College of Civil and Environmental Engineering, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Unity Rockets. To learn more about VersaBar, just go to www.vbar.com. That's www.vbar.com. VersaBar, the power of engineering delivered.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hello, I'm Austin Berkland with your 3:30 SportsCenter update brought to you by Prairie View Landscaping. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote, and you can get up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care. That's Prairie View Landscaping at mypvdiscount@gmail.com. The Illini take on their rivals Northwestern tonight from the State Farm Center. The Wildcats are coming off a 69-65 win over Rutgers. A win here can submit the Wildcats NCAA tournament berth for the first time ever. After missing 4 games with mono, including the Illini's win in Evanston, Northwestern's leading scorer Scotty Lindsley will play tonight. He scored 6 points in 24 minutes in his first game back. John Gross said Lindsey will make the Wildcats a bigger challenge.
Obviously, great challenge. Really good basketball team, you know that. Very well coached. Good personnel. They played well, consistently. And obviously have Lindsey, back now, which adds another shooter, scorer to the lineup, which makes them even more dangerous. And, we expect a very hard-fought game, and we've got to be ready to go.
Catch the game at 7 p.m. on Big Ten Network. Dave Revson and, yes, John Crispin are on the call. Other Big Ten games tonight include number 14, Purdue takes on the Nittany Lions from Happy Valley at 6 p.m. on Big Ten Network. And Indiana takes on the team that Illinois just beat in Iowa from Iowa City at 8 p.m. on ESPN. The LA Lakers have fired GM Mitch Kupchak and Executive Vice President Jim Buss. Their new president of basketball operations is none other than Hall of Famer Laker point guard Magic Johnson. And that, my friends, is the SportsCenter update.
Thank you, Austin. Stephanie Pratt, the Realtor that rocks with Coldwell Banker Honig Bell, is giving you the chance to see Dockin with Jack Russell's Great White this Saturday. Win tickets and a limo ride to and from Effingham, courtesy of Bishop Platinum Limousines. Sign up to win now at ESPNCU.com.
Is Great White this?
I believe so.
Are they missed a bone?
Lon's not going to be here. He's going to be in Florida.
Bummer.
Just stay home and go see Dockin.
But Lon will be here tomorrow.
Yeah, he's going to be here for a day, and then he's going to Florida.
Got one show, and then he's off again. Is he back next Monday?
So he leaves from Mexico to come back to Champaign. I believe he flies into Chicago, comes back down to Champaign, probably goes back to Chicago to fly to Florida.
Mm-hmm. Is he back next Monday?
Tuesday, right? Or is he Monday or Tuesday? I don't remember.
I got to check. I mean, I can do the show Monday.
Whatever.
These 4-hour marathons, though.
Nobody takes vacation quite like Ron.
There's only so many Illini basketball thoughts I could squeeze into a radio show. But the good news is we've got
doing it 15 hours a week.
Yeah, that's true.
Got to find new ways to do it.
Good news is, though, we occasionally get some really good texts and tweets from people, and they were kind of weighing in on this idea that, okay, how much are you rooting? Or are you conflicted, basically?
Are you conflicted as a fan? Because Carp obviously wants change with the head coach, but at the same time,
I really hate Northwestern.
Yes.
So that's the conflict.
So he would like them to win tonight. Plus,
would.
I mean, you're not a terrible person.
No.
Right? You kind of want Malcolm Hill in the tournament.
You know what this reminds me of? I honestly think, and I don't recall much from Philosophy 101, but they had the occasional, okay, so it's like utilitarianism and the pleasure principle and the greater good for the greatest amount of people. So I think this could actually be a really interesting hypothetical if we could effort like a philosophy professor and really ask like what sort
psychologist?
What sort of philosophical thing does this fall under?
Yeah.
That you are part of a tribe or part of a group of people with common interest, and yet you are actively rooting against those common interests for upheaval of some kind.
For a long-term gain.
So, and is there any sort of like philosophical tree that would fall under? Because again, I don't remember much. I remember utilitarianism.
That's thinking about it at a different level, Carp. I like it.
I think there is something to that, though.
Here's some texters. We asked, are you conflicted for the rest of the season? What are you hoping for or watching for? And the 217 texter said, let's get Hill to the tournament. And I can respect that because I would love to see him play in the tournament. Jared from Whiteheath, I'm just over Coach Gross. Hate it for Malcolm and Mav, but need losses so that we can have a future because we do not have a future right now. Don't have a bright future.
No.
I mean, you have an interesting future if John Gross is back with Jeremiah Tillman and Trent Frazier.
I'd say the future it's tenuous at best.
It looks similar, though.
Right.
I mean, talent's a little bit better, but next year's team, Under this coaching staff, how much better do you think they get?
Well, here's another thought I had, too, because a lot of the problem this year has not been able to settle on a rotation until mid-February. And maybe if you would have had this rotation from the start, you'd be in a different point right now. But point being, next year you're going to have all these new pieces to introduce to the equation. How, with any confidence, could we say that John Gross is going to have things figured out before February 15th or something next year with that rotation?
Yeah.
In other words, you're just going to be biding time until yet again it's far too late and you find yourself behind the 8 ball. And that's the other thing, too. Each and every year, you are behind the 8 ball in the Big Ten.
Yep.
And you can't afford that. You are not talented enough to pull that off.
Evan, as much as I fall into Carps camp, it's Northwestern. I can't do it. I hope we win by 40. And then maybe we lose to Rutgers. They don't bother me.
Yeah, they don't bother me either. Nebraska doesn't bother me. Michigan State, they don't bother me. Northwestern bothers me.
217 texter. I always want my Illini to win. I always want to win a rival game. As far as Gross goes, I'm still kind of torn. I keep thinking about what Jay said, that Gross was never able to land a point guard he needed that he had at Ohio. He always seems like he's coaching his you-know-what off. But it's not working.
Yeah, and I think that was another thing I saw on Saturday is this is not a factor if they are winning games. So I'm going to preface it with that. But I made a tweet just joking that sometime by the end of the season, because Gross, when something happens on defense and you get a charge or you get a steal, fist pump. And there was one time where he was dangerously close to punching the official out. And Brett Barons texted me back and said, hey, I'm sitting courtside, and it was close. So,
I mean, yeah, I think that's great when you're winning. That kind of energy you love. It's like, oh, that's our coach. He's into it. Tim Miles going nuts, and they're winning the game.
And I'll be anxious to see, too, because if Lovey is the template, not just as far as like name recognition or anything, but his personality.
I mean, on the Bears sideline, didn't you hate it when he's just sitting there? They're losing, and he's just looking up. Jay Cutler throws an interception. You hated it. You hated it.
I didn't fall in that camp of, I wish Lovey would line into those guys. I really didn't. I really didn't. And I'll be
anxious. But a
lot
of Bears fans did.
Absolutely.
I mean, it just shows when you're winning, it doesn't matter.
I'll be anxious to see. I mean, you aren't going to make a hire based on the personality that is the antithesis of what John Gross's personality is, as far as, demonstrative things like that. But I will be anxious to see if it falls in line with more like Lovey's personality. Do we then begin to see kind of an MO with what Josh Whitman wants? Because Josh Whitman may be young, but at the same time, he's very measured in his approach.
Yeah.
And I think that you may see someone similar.
And he can get fired up at the right time. Mm-hmm. Josh can, but he doesn't do it a lot. Like when it happens, it means something.
It's impactful.
Yeah. John, need a coaching change, so hope we don't show much of a fight down the road. However, because of my hatred of Northwestern, I hope we win tonight. An IU fan, Indiana fan weighs in. I'm an IU fan. I hope Iowa wins by 30 tonight. So he's rooting for Tom Crean to get that.
It's Iowa, Indiana tonight.
Yeah.
Is it in Indiana?
I think it's at Iowa City, Austin said.
Okay, all right. I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana lost that game.
Jeremy from Indianapolis. Illini play tonight?
That's the problem, right? I mean, Saturday, same thing. There was not this. You didn't have a bunch of people reveling in the joy of victory, especially beating Iowa. That's usually a somewhat big deal, and it just wasn't that big of a deal.
A 217 texter. Gross can be fired even if he wins out. Why is that an option anyone is talking about?
I think
it can happen. We don't know. But if you win out and all of a sudden you make a run in the Big Ten tournament, you can make the NCAA tournament. And I think that was kind of the bar, was to show progress, but we don't know because Josh Whitman never put it out there, and that's why he's smart. They could make the NCAA tournament, and he could still fire him if he's got a guy he thinks can do better.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we don't know. So, we can all assume coming into the season, the bar was make the NCAA tournament. We don't know because Josh Whitman never told us. John Gross, I don't know if he ever told John Gross what that was, but we talked with Josh, and he thought this was going to be a good year. And he thought the recruiting was going up, and that there was a bright future with basketball. That's changed this year. That we know that has changed this year so far.
I think that some of these texts,
and I think a lot of fans have made up their minds now,
right?
Based on what's happened through February 21st.
Well, I think that's it, and they made up their minds based on what's happened in 5 years, and they're just seeing the writing on the wall. You are not going to win Big Ten titles with John Gross. I could say that with almost 100% certainty.
And winning Big Ten titles keeps getting harder because there are programs that keep getting better.
Right.
And you're not.
No, you're stagnant.
And there are more teams. I mean, there are just more teams. So, winning conference tournaments is a lot harder in these super conferences that we have right now.
His conference record is still around 40, less than 40%? He's 35%.
33 and 52.
Which is, oh, man.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's the worst forever for a multi-year coach. Gene Bartow's the only one with a worse record. That's because he was 4-10 or whatever it was.
Terrible. Yeah, 1 year before Lou Henson got in here.
Yeah. So, Josh, Jeremy would love to know your thinking on your timeline if they were to make a change. Does Whitman fire Gross right after the Big Ten tournament, or does he wait a little bit if his replacement is in the tournament? Could be 2 or more weeks wait if Gross is fired immediately. I think if he's going to make a move on John Gross, Illinois, they'll play Thursday whenever it is. They could play Wednesday. If they play Wednesday, they're back Thursday, I think that would be the day you'd hear it.
Mm-hmm.
If they play Thursday and they're back Friday, I think that's the day you would hear it. I think it's the day after the season would be over if he makes a move. Now, if you hire a guy like Monty Williams, you can announce him on Saturday or Monday, right? It probably won't happen on Sunday, but you could probably do it Saturday or Monday.
Yeah.
If you wait for a guy like Kwanzaa or somebody else that's in the NCAA tournament, yeah, you could wait a week or two, but as long as you got your guy, I don't think you feel bad because you can start getting set up. They could they can't contact recruits yet, but at least Whitman could let them know, hey, I got my guy. Don't do anything until, we hire or we announce this thing.
And do you think through back channels he would be able to feel confident about candidate X after their season wraps up will come here? I mean, are there ways in which you can handle that?
I mean, if he fires Gross, I think he's got to have his guy.
Yeah.
I would hope so. That's what I've been told, that knowing Josh, people who know Josh, thinks that if he makes a move on Gross, it means he knows he's got another guy. He wouldn't make that move without having an upgrade that he feels confident in that he's definitely going to get.
You won't be
in limbo. So it would have to be a handshake deal.
Yeah, you won't be in limbo like you were in 2012.
Yeah, I don't think Josh is going to go out there and say, okay, NCAA tournament's almost over. Kwanzaa, you just got out of the NCAA tournament. You want the Illinois job?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to do that. That's what Mike Thomas did. He went into this thing, goes, okay, Shaka, you done with the NCAA tournament? You want the Illinois job? They talked for a couple days. Shaka got his raise.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't really want to come to Illinois. Then he missed on another guy. Then he goes, hey, Brad Stevens, Hail Mary. Want to catch it? No, thanks.
Brad Stevens says, no, I know a guy, though. Because didn't he sort of recommend John Gross?
Yeah, I think he did. And John was down the list, right? And the same thing happened with football. And Kevin Sumlin and all these other coaches.
What were some of the other football coaches that were being thrown about? Larry Fedora?
Butch Jones was at the time.
Okay, that's right.
I think Fedora was at the time.
Well, shouldn't we have known when Butch Jones didn't want to jump and go under his AD for a second time? I mean, that should have been indicative of, okay, your athletic director may actually be hindering your coaching search process.
This is another topic a lot of people brought up and was talked about at the media session yesterday between us reporters. From John, if Whitman goes forward with a coaching change, do you think Illinois would turn down an NIT bid to end the season sooner and get a jump on the search? The only way I think you accept an NCAA or an NIT bid if you fire John Gross is if Jamal Walker's coaching in it and Jamal Walker's staying on the staff.
Which I guess you could know going in. I mean, you may know about Jamal Walker and his future at Illinois before that.
That's the only way. Otherwise, I don't think they want to.
I think Jamal's a huge factor here. I mean, this recruiting class, which I understand, you're past the point of worrying about, oh, well, if you fire John Gross, the recruiting class is gone. In other words, the performance on the court has been so bad where, even if you told me you lose every recruit, I'm sorry, but this is what you have to do. But with Jamal Walker, I think you not only ease that transition coming in, but you allow a coach potentially to sell to a guy like Mark Smith. Sold the 2018 guys that, we still kept this 2017 class intact. We are going to move forward much quicker, and this is not going to be a 2-3 year rebuild. We have pieces.
The thing is, if you're Whitman, and I don't expect him to do this, and I said this at the time with Mike Thomas and Jarrett Howard, you don't tell that head coach you have to keep him.
No, you can't.
Because that was the rumor with Gunther and whether it was Wayne McClain with Altman. Right?
Right.
Weber obviously kept him and was willing to, and I think Weber was smart to do it at the time, but you don't do that kind of stuff. Like, you say, hey, this guy could help you. You might want to talk to him, sit down, kind of like with Lovey. Hey, this assistant might be good. And Lovey kept a couple guys because I think he had to, but I don't think he had any other options. But I don't think you do that. You don't say, you got to hire Jamal Walker. You say, this guy might be a good idea, talk to him, and then you go from there. You let your head coach make those kind of decisions.
359-2255. That's 359-2255 if you have thoughts on how conflicted you might be as a fan.
And one more text before we get to a break. The texters put in, does Whitman need to wait a week since the posting for the coaching job has to be up for a week, or is that incorrect?
They can go around that, right?
Most jobs do need to have a job posting for a week. And most of those include assistants, all that stuff. head coaching job, athletic director, they can make exceptions.
Yeah.
It's got to file some paperwork and make some exceptions. Lovie Smith was that.
Yep.
So you can expedite the process that way.
359-2255 for the Jupiters of the Crossing phone line, the Chief Bauer text line. Take a quick break and come back. Maybe get some more of your thoughts on this.
And a couple national guys waiting on the Illinois job. One was just one line. The other one was a couple graphs. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Wow, what did you do to your curls? So soft, shiny, and defined. They look amazing.
I use John Frieda Frizzy's Air Dry Waves. Ooh. It gives you defined, touchable waves with soft, feather-light movement. No heat required and no frizz. Frizz-Ease Air Dry Waves is why my curls look amazing.
Wow, beauty secret revealed.
Let's just say hair talks.
With Frizz-Ease Air Dry Waves, your hair talks and frizz never interrupts. Only from John Frieda.
ESPN 93.5 invites you on our annual bus trip to see the St. Louis Cardinals take on the world champion Chicago Cubs Wednesday, April 5th. And it's all brought to you by Rosati's Pizza in Urbana. Buy your bus and right field game day tickets for just $99. Or register to win a set of free tickets at Rosati's Pizza, 701 Gregory in Urbana. It's our annual bus trip to Busch Stadium in St. Louis to see the Cubs take on the Cardinals Wednesday, April 5th. Get information on the trip by calling 367-1195 or at ESPNCU.com today.
Hey, Champaign County, it's Stephanie Pratt, Coldwell Banker Honig Bell, your realtor that rocks the real estate market. If you like to rock, then you're going to love this. I've teamed up with ESPN Radio, and this week I'm giving you and one of your coolest rocker friends a chance to go see Dawkins and my man, Jack Russell's Great White in Effingham on Saturday, February 25th. Hey, here's a bonus. We get to rock a limo to and from the show with my friend Dwayne at Bishop Platinum Limousines online at bishopplatinum.com. It's so gonna rock. So sign up to win today at ESPNCU.com.
Champaign-Urbana, want something new for lunch? Try a Jetsy from Jets Pizza. Their famous deep dish pizza dough, baked into a golden crust and layered with the freshest ingredients. Try one at either store in Champaign for just $6.49. Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets.
Prairie View Landscaping is in their 25th year in business. And between now and February 23rd, sign up and receive up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care service. Not only that, but on February 24th, they'll select one winner who will receive free lawn care all year long. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote. mypvdiscount@gmail.com. Prairie View Landscaping, celebrating the 25th anniversary with SJ Broadcasting. mypvdiscount@gmail.com.
What are we doing for lunch today?
I know. Fat City Bar and Grill. They have a new lunch menu. I tried it yesterday, and the food's delicious. It's like Champagne's new hidden lunch spot.
Visit Fat City Bar and Grill today and check out their new lunch menu featuring the 6 for $6. That's right, 6 lunch entrees for $6. Try the chili dog with tater tots, chili mac with Texas toast, or the soup and salad lunch special. A fast, affordable lunch is waiting for you today at Fat City Bar and Grill, just off Green Street in Champaign.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals, a nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
Napa know-how.
Back at New Year's, you made a resolution to save more money. Just so happens, Pennzoil's family of oils are on sale starting at $3.49 a quart. So you can check Save Money off your list and bask in the glory of actually seeing a resolution through to the end. With the Pennzoil family of oils starting at $3.49 a quart. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer expires 2/28/17.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hey, make one simple decision for your business that will transform our local economy. Shop local with female-owned and operated CMI online at CMIClean.com. Put Betsy and Brad Parks and CMI in your circle of trust. They have a combined 120 years of experience, so CMI understands the importance of tailoring all products and all services to fit your business. Whether it's laundry services, cleaning products, or disinfectants, shop local with CMI. Online at CMIClean.com. Everyone wins when you shop local. Get a free quote by calling 359-6262 or online at CMIClean.com.
Tay and J Show, Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Werner. The topic this hour, are you conflicted going into tonight's game? Or really, for that matter, are you conflicted going into these final 4 games of the Big Ten regular season with Illinois at 5-9 and not really any clear path to make the NCAA tournament? So I think we could agree. If we were betting men, we would certainly not bet on this team to win out.
No, they haven't won back-to-back Big Ten games
and you know
in 2 calendar years.
This has been a great discussion, but it really is all for naught when they lose tonight.
It's the discussion for today, Carp.
And you're right. And I think it's so weird because if I were to just
But I kind of do pick them to win tonight.
I kind of do too, but you know what? At the same time,
Hey, and if you win 2 in a row, and then you win a 3rd game in a row, Carp, what do we call that?
That's a win streak.
Yes!
Now, this is the thing, though. I'm afraid of falling in this trap. I'm leery of falling in this trap, which is similar to when they beat Northwestern on the road. They come home against Penn State, and they get killed. So it would not surprise me. Who has more to play for right now? And I guess that argument could go both ways, but I certainly think that Northwestern, if they are as good as they've appeared at their best, and knowing Chris Collins as their coach, knowing that there is history on the line, I have to think that they have the mental wherewithal to come in here and take care of business, right? I mean, if I were Northwestern...
they're not that talented.
Agreed. But if I were a Northwestern fan tonight, wouldn't I be feeling pretty confident that they're going to make amends for what happened up there?
Yeah, I think it's a toss-up game.
And I think Illinois is going to have to play a good game to get it done, and it's just so rare of an occurrence to see a good game from Illinois. Because we saw it at Northwestern, and we saw it in stretches at Iowa, but not really.
Iowa, they didn't play all that great.
Exactly.
They played well enough to beat a bad team playing, or an under, I guess, a below-average team playing bad basketball. They were able to beat them on the road. So, I mean, it wasn't a great game. Northwestern, I thought they played really well up at Northwestern. We did get a texter saying, doesn't Jamal Walker still have a 2-game postseason suspension? I believe it's a 1-game, and I think it's only the NCAA tournament.
Oh.
Who would have thought 4 years later he still
You'd still be waiting on that.
Hasn't gotten rid of that.
I'd forgotten about that story. Heading to Jupiters of the Crossing phone line real quick. It is Ryan from Sherman. Ryan, what's up?
I was actually going to say the same thing about what the texter said. I thought it was a 2-game suspension. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was from the Miami game with the tip ball, not tip ball, tongue-in-cheek in the press conference. Gross. That incident.
It is 2 games. You're right.
But he can still coach in the NIT. He just can't coach in the NCAA. Is that correct?
I think that's correct. Thanks for the call, Ryan.
It says the NCAA tournament. Yeah. NCAA postseason berth. So I don't know what that. I don't know if that's the NCAA tournament or it is.
Well, because is the NIT necessarily an NCAA?
It's NCAA run.
Okay, it is. All right.
So I'm not quite sure.
And I doubt that they'd let him serve the 2-game suspension in the NIT just to knock it out. But it is crazy because I do remember that story.
Some people put it as 2-game NCAA tournament ban. I'm not quite sure. I don't have the exact.
But I certainly remember thinking when that story came out, that's all right. Hopefully by year 3. That's already taken care of.
Yeah, I would imagine it would have already. 2-game tournament suspension. That's how the NCAA put it. 2 NCAA postseason championship suspension. So I think that's NCAA tournament.
Okay.
Because that's a championship. The NIT obviously is not championship. So I'm not quite sure on that. I haven't looked into it.
There's more pressing concerns. But that is an interesting point and a story I'd forgotten about. Mark Tupper actually tweeted out today that the State Farm Center would be available for 2 NIT home games, round 1 and 2.
It's been a while since they've hosted 2010, Dimitri?
That's right, Dimitri. It was Dayton was one of the games. I feel like Kent State might have been before that.
I do want to get to this before we get out of here. Illinois, people are starting to talk about this nationally, that this could be an open job. And Pat Forty today broke down some of the open jobs that could happen. And he said, Illinois, where John Gross will miss the NCAA tournament for the 4th straight year, could be interesting. The industry is teeming with talk about California coach Quanzo Martin looking to get back to the Midwest. He's from East St. Louis, played at Purdue, and coached at Missouri State. And he could be a prime candidate at both Illinois and Missouri. But there's also is Illinois-based speculation about a couple of coaches with NBA and Midwestern ties. Chicago Bulls coach Fred Hoiberg and former New Orleans coach Monty Williams, now in the front office in San Antonio. Hoiberg, a former player and coach at Iowa State, had far better success at coaching college level than he had in the pros. Williams, who played at Notre Dame, has a charismatic image that would be appealing as a college coach. Other potential names at Missouri to replace and battle Kim Anderson would include Kevin Keats and possibly Greg Marshall, who discussed the job 3 years ago and declined, leading the school to hire Anderson. But that was 2 athletic directors ago at Missouri, a school just starting to find some stability after a campus-wide period of tumult. So nothing we haven't talked about, nothing that I haven't talked about. I mean, these are some of the names. I mean, I put my huge coaching list a week ago, and the 3 guys I had most likely to be the Illinois coach are Quanzo Martin, Monty Williams, and Fred Hoiberg. I don't think Fred Hoiberg is going to make sense because I think he's going to be coaching the Bulls next year, and the timing of it. Yeah. I mean, he's not going to. I doubt he'd quit his job. I doubt the Bulls fire him mid-year.
He'd be forfeiting a lot of money to do that.
Yeah, and I actually think Monty Williams and Quanzo Martin would be better fits at Illinois, to be honest with you. Despite Fred Hoiberg having a lot of success at Iowa State, I just think fit-wise, I think Monty and Quanzo might fit a little bit better.
Yeah, with Fred Hoiberg, I don't want to say that it was a novelty that he was able to win at Iowa State, in Ames, where he grew up, where he played ball, both high school and collegiate. But yeah, I think it certainly mattered. And is that a sustainable template? I think Fred can be a really good college coach again. I do. I think Chicago Bulls front office has done him a disservice, but he also, I don't think he's able to handle NBA egos, massage those kind of personalities, which is a big part of coaching in the NBA. Tom Thibodeau was able to do that really well because he was the boss, and everyone knew he was the boss. Fred's too nice.
He's a great guy.
Right.
He's a phenomenal guy, and I think he would play well in this community. Who can he recruit? And would the transfer thing work here if he wants to go that route again?
Yeah.
Obviously Iowa State's remained pretty good after he's left with a good coach they got from Murray State, Steve Prohm. But I think he'd be a solid candidate. There's the guys I'd probably have on top of that list. And the big thing is the timing doesn't work out. I don't think the Bulls are going to fire him. And is he going to quit mid-year? I don't think that'd go well for his next job.
No.
Plus, I mean, losing in Chicago like he has, with the proud franchise the Bulls are, pretend to be, I don't think that helps you recruit.
No, because Lovie Smith still left with he was still a respected coach when he left. It was just, you haven't made playoffs, but at the same time, we don't put that all on you. You've done a pretty good job up here, and his reputation still stands.
Coming up next hour, we'll talk about the Bulls. We'll talk about Fred Hoiberg, what Cody Westerlund, 670 The Score, thinks about that possible fit, and will the Bulls trade Jimmy Butler either now or this offseason?
It is the Tay and J Show.
Hey, this is Brad again with Kramer Siding and Window Company. And if you've thought about replacing those drafty windows and doors, call us right now. Take advantage of 30% off our windows and 30% off our doors. These are the vinyl windows that tilt in for cleaning and never need storm windows. Also, our beautiful Paragon doors come pre-painted and have deadbolt locks built right into them. So if you've thought about replacing your windows and doors, call us to take advantage of 30% off plus 0% financing.
Stay toasty this winter with Matex Heating and Cooling's hot winter deals. Choose a rebate of up to $1,000 or 0% interest payments for 3 years on your new qualifying Trane heating and cooling system. Call Matex Heating and Cooling today at 355-9700 or visit online at mattexservice.com. It's hard to stop a train.
See your independent Trane dealer for details. Call 888-653-0051 for financing program details. About credit costs and terms. Regular APR at 28.99%. For newly opened accounts, APR may vary. Subject to credit approval. Offer expires March 15th. 2017.
Hey parents, summer's coming. Why not have your kids spend some time at the Champaign County Forest Preserve District? There's a variety of day camps at Lake of the Woods Forest Preserve or Homer Lake Forest Preserve to choose from. Are they interested in nature? Want to know what it was like to live on the Grand Prairie? Explore the world of gardening in our Discovery Garden? Or hit the links at the Lake of the Woods Golf Course? New this year is registration online at ccfpd.org. Registration begins March 1st. Let your kids get closer to nature this summer.
Congratulations to Betsy Alfonso with the Urbana Police, our law enforcement official of the month. police get a bad rap, particularly today. It's, you guys are human beings. You wake up every day. You want the best for our America, our society, our city of Urbana. You want all the good things, and sometimes they think that police are out to get people. That's just not the case. That's fake news. That's not true.
You're very correct. That's what a lot of people don't realize is we have our own problems too, but, we turn those off. We go to work. We try to help as many people as we can, and we have to go back home and do our thing too.
Yeah, and so your favorite part of this is what?
There's so many different things that I like to do. I like chasing after people, sometimes driving fast, just getting to help people. And
whatever it takes, but some people, to me, that's like bungee jumping, Betsy. I'm not interested.
Well, this is as far as I'm going to get.
You'd probably be a bungee jumper. You're not afraid. You've got courage. And Betsy, congratulations.
Thank you.
Effie Moran supports our law enforcement official of the month.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days, mortgage loans, and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Live from the Habib BPC Studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
I'm Joe Chiaro. The Homeland Security Department expanding the number of people considered a priority for deportation. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
Under new DHS guidelines, federal authorities will now take stronger enforcement actions against illegal immigrants. But White House spokesman Sean Spicer cautions the directives are not intended to produce mass deportations.
The priority that ICE is putting forward through DHS's guidance is to make sure that the people who have committed a crime or pose a threat to our public safety are the priority of their efforts.
DHS officials say they won't target otherwise law-abiding undocumented immigrants and don't plan roundups of illegal immigrants, arguing that their limited resources would still require a focus on those people who pose a public safety risk. Joe?
Thanks, John. Donald Trump taking a tour of the newly opened National Museum of African American History and Culture this morning.
This tour was a meaningful reminder of why we have to fight bigotry, intolerance, and hatred in all of its very ugly forms.
After the tour, President Trump denounced recent threats against Jewish community centers, calling the threats horrible and painful. The heavy rains have diminished, but flood concerns still plague saturated California. Rescue workers are evacuating people from a San Jose neighborhood after it was inundated by waist-deep floodwaters, and people living along the Tuolumne River also being warned of possible flooding. Police remain on scene at Houston's Ben Tom Hospital after reports of shots fired.
No one's been injured. We have not found anyone injured. We have not found anybody shot, and we have not found a suspect.
Police Chief Art Acevedo. Wall Street today, another record one, the Dow gaining nearly 119 points. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Milo Yiannopoulos has resigned as editor at Breitbart. He also held a press conference to discuss a recent controversy surrounding him after videotapes surfaced of him discussing pedophilia While apologizing, he was also critical of the U.S.
America has a colossal free speech problem. The land of the First Amendment has some of the most oppressive social restrictions on free expression anywhere in the Western world.
Yiannopoulos saying he resigned over a poor choice of words. A Russian spy ship the Pentagon thought would be going to the Caribbean instead remains off the coast of Virginia.
U.S. officials tell Fox the Russian spy ship Viktor Leonov has been loitering 30 miles off the coast of Virginia since Friday, not far from Norfolk, home to the world's largest naval base. The Russian spy ship has remained in international waters more than 12 miles off the shore. Last week, Fox News first reported the sighting of the Russian spy ship off the coast of Delaware. Later in the week, the Russian spy ship traveled up the east coast, 30 miles off the coast of Connecticut, home to a U.S. Navy submarine base. It was the farthest north a spy ship had ever ventured. The Viktor Leonov was last spotted near the U.S. in April 2015. At the Pentagon, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Challenged by progressives and environmentalists, former Oklahoma State Attorney General Scott Pruitt is now President Trump's new administrator for the Environmental Protection Agency. Pruitt spoke to his staff today and said he'll make a good administrator, even if his views seem to run counter to the goals of the EPA.
I think our nation has done better than any nation in the world at making sure that we do the job of protecting our natural resources and protecting our environment while also respecting the economic growth and jobs our nation seeks to have.
Many were critical of the choice of Pruitt, who challenged the science behind climate change and sued the EPA 14 times on behalf of Oklahoma while serving as the state's attorney general. Again, the Dow today surging 119 points. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a furnace expert? Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS, or you can visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 49. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 70, low of 50. Thursday, chance of thunderstorms, high 65, a low of 56. Right now, mostly cloudy, 63 degrees in Champaign-Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Werner. I have an idea.
Yep.
We have these conversations off the air, and we got a great batch of interns this semester. I think this and last summer when we had Brendan and Nathan here as well, great batch of interns. So we're talking about places to go for lunch. And
we probably shouldn't throw any under the bus in case.
No, we won't throw anyone under the bus. But my thought was, what if we did a fast food draft? Because the thing is, you hear that, and normally you just think like Taco Bell, White Castle. But if you incorporate any place that you can go in, and I mean, because there's kind of like a new wave of fast food
within
places.
like 5 minutes, get your food kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that would include like Panera and all these places.
Yeah, so let's do that. Guys, we'll do a draft.
Carp, you really want to do a draft today.
I like drafts. There was a draft we couldn't do yesterday because it's not subject appropriate. But
what was the one you threw out the other day? The animation draft or whatever it was?
Well, because we did sitcoms, and then it was like, well, we aren't going to include Simpsons or South Park, but what if we did an animation draft?
Carp's really itching for a draft.
So we got other shows later this week on Thursday, Friday. Thursday we could do that maybe. Yeah. But I was thinking, what about that? Like 4:40, we do a fast food draft.
Well, we can end the show with it.
Okay, that's good.
I don't know. Could we do better in fast food, though?
Well, we got time to think about it.
Okay. All right. Is Cody on the line?
Yeah, Cody. I'm sorry, Cody. I'm belaboring the point.
All right, let's get to the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. NBA trade deadline in just a couple days, and the Bulls are a team that's probably going to be a little bit active. We'll see how active, but let's get to the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. Welcome in Cody Westro on 670thescore.com. What's going on, Cody?
Not too much. Just kind of watching here and waiting as these last, 46 hours or so pass before a trade deadline that's pivotal for a lot of NBA teams and kind of has the Bulls at a crossroads of sorts as they embark and still consider this rebuild, this quasi-rebuild they have of adding youngsters but still having a lot of veteran starters and Jimmy Butler on the team currently. They do have other pieces they're willing to sell, though, so it should be an eventful 46 or so more hours here.
Cody, it's interesting because everyone in the NBA this season, it seems the focus obviously is the Warriors and Cavs. Like, it's inevitable that we're going to see these two teams, but it seems like that, I mean, especially after the DeMarcus Cousins trade, which guys like that don't get traded that often, that this could be possibly one of the more active, at least people looking and talking about trades. Why do you think that is?
It's a good question. I mean, you got to keep in mind, no two teams have matched up in back-to-back-to-back years in the NBA Finals. So what we think is an inevitability between the Cavs and Warriors. That's never been done in history, those teams going 3 straight years in the finals. So the percentages are that someone here is going to be vulnerable, and you look at the Cavs with Kevin Love out for a while now. It could be them, and LeBron's expressed on multiple occasions that he wants another playmaker because he doesn't think Cleveland has enough playmakers. So when you look at the Raptors trading for Serge Ibaka, that's what they're eyeing. They view this as a chance. And I think there's a handful of teams here in win-now mode or built to win now. You look at the Raptors. You look at the Celtics. They're in their win-now mode even though they have a lot of assets later in the form of draft picks. You look at the Washington Wizards. They're playing really good basketball and want to add another rotation piece. These are teams that are built to win now, and I don't think when LeBron's, what is he now, 32 or something like that, I don't think you pass on the chance to make a run at it on an aging Cavs team that is hobbled with Kevin Love. You don't pass on that chance when you're in win-now mode. So I just think with the changing salary cap and the CBA, those details being known with it getting announced here in the last few months, I think there's a little bit more certainty of what is going to lie ahead. And also teams, I mean, that's what you do. When you're built to win now, you try to do it even if there's a man named LeBron James standing between you. In the West, I mean, the Warriors are the best team. There's no doubt about that. And we'll see how that goes. But I think it's just natural to want to do that now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned Boston as one of those teams in win-now mode, but at the same time, they're young enough where they can probably take a wait-and-see approach. And with you, like you said, an aging Cleveland team. But with that in mind, with these teams in the Eastern Conference that might want to make a jump right now, what kind of trading position does that put the Bulls in? And do you think it's likely that they can use that to their advantage, or are they going to be very reluctant to make any sort of move?
Well, I don't think the Bulls are reluctant to make moves. I think they're reluctant to trade Jimmy Butler for anything less than about 95 or 98 cents on the dollar. It doesn't make sense to trade Jimmy whatsoever at all if you're just going to get back a draft pick who you think maybe has star potential and then maybe one other good young guy. Like, they really, really want a haul for him. They really want to have a star, a certain star that they truly believe in if they're going to trade Jimmy Butler. Now, that could be the number 1 pick overall in the draft of the Nets, which the Celtics own, as I'm sure we've all talked about a lot here. But they don't want to trade Jimmy Butler to just accelerate a rebuild to being a mid-level Eastern Conference team again, just for the sake of changing it up. They want to get maximum value for him. And right now the Celtics haven't stepped up with that offer. It doesn't appear like they're going to step up with that offer. So a team like the Celtics can take a wait-and-see approach too, and the Bulls can do that as well when they have a little more certainty regarding draft position of teams come June and come the lottery in May and everything. So for the Bulls, Taj Gibson, they're willing to trade him if they get the right price. Niko Mirotic, they're willing to trade him if they get the right price. Doug McDermott, Robin Lopez, all these guys, if the Bulls get an offer that they think makes them better for the future, I don't think they're hesitant to pull it on anyone besides Jimmy Butler at this point. They're just really, really gung-ho on getting as much value back as they can. And I think there can be an argument made that they're a little delusional in what they're hoping for. There was a report in USA Today that the Bulls would like a lottery pick for Taj Gibson, which is just kind of absurd in my mind, considering he's going to be a free agent this summer. Niko Mirotic just hasn't played well enough to probably get a first-round pick back or a good young piece. So you can make that argument, certainly. But if the Bulls are going to start or continue this overhaul at some point, you got to pull the trigger on a deal.
Cody, what is realistic return for Jimmy Butler that a team would actually pay? Because obviously he's on a great contract. You're not going to sell him for what the Sacramento Kings sold DeMarcus Cousins for, because he's got no really issues. He seems like a winner. People talk about him being a diva or whatever, but he's one of the top 12 players in the NBA. So if you're talking about the Celtics, what would they have to give up to get him, whether it's now or in the offseason?
It would have to be that 2017 first-round pick from the Nets, which is in line to be the number 1 pick. The lottery can change that, and it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, obviously. But it would have to start with that. I think it would have to include a really good young player. Everyone points to forward Jaylen Brown on the Celtics, the guy they took in the first round. last year, a guy who isn't receiving a ton of playing time yet, been dealing with a few injuries here lately, but a really bright outlook. Like, there's two really good pieces to build from. I still think the Bulls would want another first-round pick. Not necessarily the other Nets pick, 2018, but the Celtics still own their first-rounder. You can throw one of those in the future. And they got young guys like Terry Rozier and such, James Young, that I think they'd be willing to part with. And I think the Bulls would rather have those young guys, if they're going to make that trade, than get a guy like Jay Crowder, who's in his prime right now.
Yeah.
Because if you trade Jimmy Butler for Jay Crowder's a good basketball player on a good contract, but he's not helping you win in 4 or 5 years. He's helping you win now. And I think if you trade Jimmy Butler, you're in a full-on rebuild. So you're looking at the number 1 overall pick, probably Jaylen Brown, and probably another a piece that can be a rotation member or another draft pick the Bulls really believe in. At least those 3 pieces, I think they would want more. I don't know that they would get more from the Celtics because they've been really reluctant to part with some of those so far.
Yeah, Cody, we're talking with Cody Western on 670thescore.com. I put a poll question out today and said, hey, your GAR packs, Boston Calls offers Jaylen Brown, the Nets pick this year, the Boston first rounder in 2018, and salary filler. And 76% of fans said they'd take it. I think Bulls fans probably are more willing to do this rebuild full scale than the Bulls front offices. It kind of reminds me of the White Sox.
Oh, absolutely. In my time in Chicago here, this is my 4th year covering the Bulls. I've never seen the fan base so fed up as they've been now. I've never seen them more ready to embark on a rebuild. It's to the point where fans just want a shakeup for the sake of a shakeup. I should say some fans do. And that, like, when they suggest these things, it's like, hey, scale back here. Jimmy Butler is a brilliant basketball player. If you're going to part with him, you have to get fair value for him. And I think, again, it's to the point they're so fed up that they're just ready for it to change. And I understand. Look, go to the United Center, and Bulls are still selling out, and I put selling out the United Center in air quotes there because it's like 2/3 full sometimes. And there's just no atmosphere right now whatsoever at all in those games. They get most excited for the Dunkin' Donuts free coffee race in the 4th quarter, not the basketball. And I'm serious here. Like,
$70 to go see the Dunkin' Donuts race. $70 to go see it.
They are ready for it. So I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out, but it doesn't have anything to do with the fan base now. Like, the ball's in the front office support. They have the support of the fans if they want to start this makeover.
And it doesn't help them that they're in the same city as the Blackhawks and the Cubs now. And they are regressing to the point of Bears, White Sox level of fan apathy. And it is really bizarre in a city.
But White Sox fans, not like me, I'm pumped.
Oh, no, for sure.
Right? And I think that's what Bulls fans would be. Like, if you got to watch, say, a Jaylen Brown and Lonzo Ball, like, that's more exciting because you feel like there's hope that they could contend rather than just let's try and piece something together with Jimmy when they have no other assets, Cody.
Yeah, and I go back, too, to, there's still a lot of fans that love Jimmy Butler. Like, some of the times the United Center is the most electric is when they put Jimmy at point guard and the Bulls are down 12 points to somebody, and he starts going crazy. So, they can handle this rebuild and this surround Jimmy with talent, too, but they got to do something again to shake it up. It's just the same movie over and over and over again with the Bulls, and you're almost like, the movie's uninspiring, Yeah. It's a bad effort movie, and they can't have that anymore. Something does need to change, and it doesn't mean you have to sell Jimmy Butler by the trade deadline to change it up. You can wait and do that in the summer if you need to, or you can try to build around Jimmy Butler this summer, too. And, I'm in the court where they need to put Jimmy Butler at point guard even more than they do already. They do it in the 4th quarters quite a bit. And just see what he can do. I know that's a ridiculous responsibility and burden for him, but I would like to see him put him at point guard, too, to see if that works more. And then if it does, you can think about surrounding him with more 3 and D guys in free agency or the draft for next season and take that defensive responsibility that's on his plate off and let him do more at point guard. So I do think there's a path building around Jimmy Butler. They just have to decide if they're going to do that or go with the full rebuild path.
Where does Fred Hoiberg sit in all of this? Because it seems like a lot of this is beyond his control, and I think that might speak to his ability or lack thereof to kind of work with professional players. But he just seems, I don't know if lame duck is too mean of a term to throw out there, but that he's really kind of a non-factor in this mess that is the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, non-factor is actually a terrific description there, Carp. And I think that's one of the worst things about the Bulls' approach these last 2 years in not building around Fred Hoiberg as a coach and his space and pace system that everyone touted. But we still have no read on whether Fred could be a successful NBA coach, the right fit. And you can make the argument that a good NBA coach is going to win with whatever he has. And look, there are a lot better NBA coaches than Fred Hoiberg, guys that would win more. But I don't know who could coach these Bulls and have a whole lot of success with this lack of floor spacing and shooting. So that's yet another reason they need to, either build around Jimmy Butler or start the full rebuild so you get a full read on Fred Hoiberg as a coach. And look, he's tried to change and make his guys more accountable as the season's gone on. If you remember when Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade called out their teammates after a loss recently against the Hawks, they were reprimanded by not starting the next game. Jimmy and Dwayne Wade basically both thought that was just kind of laughable. Like, they just joked about it like they were in a really upbeat mood that night, despite not starting and the Bulls having a horrible effort in the days to come. Like, so you can say these things he's doing aren't helping whatsoever at all, but he's trying to push different buttons with rotations again and again, with putting the ball in Jimmy Butler's hands more, different combos, and different motivational tactics. And again, nothing's worked yet, and that's a reflection on Fred, but this starts so much higher than him.
Yeah.
It's got to be the roster construction and the bigger picture direction, and try to build around what he wants to do as a coach, because these pieces just don't fit together pretty much whatever system you're running right now.
Cody, a lot of Illini fans have looked at Fred Hoiberg since the Josh Whitman hired the other former Chicago professional coach for his football team. A lot of people have talked about Fred Hoiberg because he had success at Iowa State. I've given my thoughts. I don't want to color yours on the likelihood of Fred Hoiberg coaching the Illini next year, but what do you make of that?
I mean, I don't think so. I don't see that. Fred hated recruiting in college at Iowa State. Like, he'd spent 5 years in Ames, 5 very successful years, loved fans, the people, the community. He loved game night at Hilton Coliseum. He loved game planning. He liked the kids. He did not like going out and recruiting kids and being in living rooms and away from his family and spending Memorial Day weekend for 48 hours in some gym in Northwest Indiana or something. You know what I mean? Like, He didn't like that. He wanted to get to the professional ranks where it was coaching and basketball, which is kind of ironic because he's gone to the Bulls and so much of it has been off-the-court problems or leadership problems and pieces that don't fit, and ego and this and that, and it hasn't always been about basketball like he wanted it to be. But that's what he wants to do. I think, again, if he ever went back to college, he'd be a phenomenal fit again because he can recruit kids to his system, and he proved that, and he can make a lot of different things work. I mean, he had unconventional ideas with point guards at Iowa State, playing big men there or point forwards and stuff, and it really worked really well. I haven't gotten that vibe yet. Like, maybe we see later if it doesn't work out with the Bulls, but like right now he wants to be with the Bulls and have success, and he didn't like that college game at the end of it. He didn't like the recruiting part. That's a fact, and that'd be a quick turnaround. So you got to remember he has front office experience in the NBA too. He was part of the Timberwolves for 4 years in that capacity. So he's been an NBA guy, an NBA lifer, and that's what he wanted to get to. So I don't see him giving up on that goal anytime soon. That said, the Bulls, they got to get better because he's really, really under the microscope going into year 3 when they've had so much drama off the court, even if they're not building a team for him, because he's got to do his part to make the Bulls better. And right now you just can't really say that a lot of nights he's making the Bulls better. It feels like when the Bulls win, it's because Jimmy Butler's being brilliant at basketball. So certainly it's worth a storyline to follow, though.
Yeah, Cody, and I don't see him quitting midseason. I don't see Gar firing him, right? I mean, the Illini need somebody who can come in and recruit by the end of March, and Hoiberg just doesn't that doesn't line up.
That's a good point. I don't think the Bulls will fire him in any circumstances this year. They'll play it out to the end of the year. And I mean, they can reevaluate in the summer, but he's got 3 years and $15 million left on his contract after this year. So there's still a hefty sum there. You got to remember they just got done paying Tom Thibodeau, I guess, at the end of last year when he took the Timberwolves job. So they don't like paying two coaches. You got to remember, millionaires are millionaires in large part because they make good financial decisions. So I think he'll be around certainly to start year 3 of training camp with the Bulls.
Great stuff, Cody Westerlund, 670thescore.com. Follow him on Twitter at Cody Westerlund. It could be a couple interesting days for you, Cody. Always appreciate the time.
Yep, thanks, guys. Take it easy.
All right, great stuff. Cody Westerlund, Illinois graduate, working up at 670thescore.com.
I didn't play a song. I know it's outdated.
That's all right. Yeah, we need to update that, and we need to, before Friday, make Dion's song.
You're right.
Dion.
I wonder if he's a John Mayer fan. We asked him, right?
I asked him. He goes, yeah, that's fine.
You going to go see John Mayer at United Center this year? He's back.
I haven't liked his last 3 albums.
Well, I guess what he's doing is an acoustic set, a set with a trio, and then a full band.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah, he's a
but
great guitarist.
just the songwriting hasn't been great lately. The Continuum album is definitely one of my top 5 albums of all time.
Do you know that, and maybe you told me this, but someone did at least, that something happened with his voice?
Yeah.
And that's why
he's... After the album after Continuum on that tour... After that tour, he had to have surgery, so he's gone a little bit lower.
Yeah, so I mean, and then he spent 2 years playing with the Dead and the members of the Grateful Dead, and now he's back. So if you're a John Mayer fan, there you go.
There's a couple songs out. It's like whatever.
I know he had a country album.
He had
I think
2 country albums. It was just like not for me.
You can always give us a call, the Jupiters of the Crossing phone line, or text us, the Cheap Hour text line. That's 359-2255. That's 359-2255.
We'll talk with Brad Sturdy, orangeandbluenews.com at 5:25. But coming up, Carp, there is a phrase that really has come up the last year that people need to stop using.
Is it classy?
No.
Because I want to retire that word permanently.
It's a phrase that we hear. It's a phrase athletes hear. It's a phrase a lot of those people hear, especially over the last year and a half, 2 years.
You've piqued my interest.
So when we come back, I want to tell people that they really need to stop with this particular phrase.
Okay.
That's a tease.
We'll do that. Tay and J Show.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point.
That is a badly managed franchise. Yep. The owner, who when he first came in, I thought, wow, here's this outside-the-box thinker, Vivek Ranadive. He wanted to play a designated cherry picker. Remember that? He was going to play 4 guys on defense and 1 guy on offense. Yeah. And I thought, okay, insane, but I like the fact that someone's kind of thinking that way, willing to think differently. Yeah. And somewhere between there and now, I've realized, no, he doesn't have any idea what he's doing. So you got that. You got Divac, who don't say what he said because you're just begging people to pick you apart. If you were so worried this trade was going to get pulled off the table, well, then you weren't going to get anything for him anyway. So there's enough blame to go around for everyone. But this was as much about Sacramento just saying we need to start over without this guy as it was about New Orleans saying we can now put together a championship team around this guy.
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio. As an entrepreneur, you're always on the go. So turn your mobile phone into a business phone system with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Make and receive business calls using our iPhone and Android apps. Get a new business number or keep your current one. Forward your calls to any phone and even get your voicemails transcribed. Join over 250,000 small businesses who stay connected with Grasshopper. See how it works at grasshopper.com, the entrepreneur's phone system.
The Home Depot has a new idea. Free carpet installation that means free carpet installation. Moving furniture out of the way? Free. Ripping out the old carpet? No charge. Hauling it away? On the house. Because the Home Depot has no hidden fees. Just free carpet installation on purchases of $699 or more. The Home Depot. More saving. More doing. Valid on carpet price $1 or more per square foot. Unique specialty items and requirements may be priced separately. Not valid in all markets. Offer ends April 5th.
Hey guys, Mike Carpenter from the Tay and J Show, and for this Illinois basketball season, we have a brand new show on ESPN 93.5 called The 200 Level. Ride the roller coaster with myself and Steve Breitweiser each Monday night at 6, right after the Tay and J Show, every Monday through the NCAA tournament. The 200 Level is brought to you by DP Dough, Chambana Sales, Cheap Hour Service Experts, and Heiser Allstate Agency. The 200 Level, Monday nights at 6, beginning January 9th, only on ESPN 93.5 and streaming online at espncu.com.
Hey, Champaign County, it's Stephanie Pratt, Coldwell Banker Honig Bell, your realtor that rocks the real estate market. If you like to rock, then you're going to love this. I've teamed up with ESPN Radio, and this week I'm giving you and one of your coolest rocker friends a chance to go see Dawkins and my man, Jack Russell's Great White in Effingham on Saturday, February 25th. Hey, there's a bonus. We get to rock a limo to and from the show with my friend Dwayne at Bishop Platinum Limousines online at bishopplatinum.com. It's so gonna rock. So sign up to win today at espncu.com.
Hey, Champaign-Urbana, want something new for lunch? Try a Jetty from Jet's Pizza. Their famous deep dish pizza dough, baked into a golden crust and layered with the freshest ingredients. Try one at either store in Champaign for just $6.49. Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets. Napa know-how.
Back at New Year's, you made a resolution to save more money. Just so happens, Pennzoil's family of oils are on sale starting at $3.49 a quart. So you can check Save Money off your list and bask in the glory of actually seeing a resolution through to the end. With the Pennzoil family of oils starting at $3.49 a quart. That's Napa Know-How.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer expires 2/28/17.
Register to win our all-expense-paid trip to Mesa, Arizona for Cubs spring training. Final day to register is Thursday, March 2nd. Then we'll invite 100 finalists to our giveaway party March 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. hosted by Budweiser and Bud Light. Register at Rosati's Pizza, South Gregory, Urbana. Vapors E-Cig, Champaign and Danville. Champagne Surplus, downtown Champaign. Honda BMW in Savoy. And the U of I Meat Sales Room on Maryland in Urbana. Trip includes $1,000 for travel. 3 nights at the Sheraton in Mesa, rental car, post-game dinner with select players, and Cubs merchandise. Get more details at ESPNCU.com. Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hello, I'm Austin Berkland with your 4:30 Sports Center update brought to you by Prairie View Landscaping. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote, and you can get up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care. That's Prairie View Landscaping at mypvdiscount.com. The Illini take on their rivals Northwestern tonight from the State Farm Center. The Wildcats are coming off a 69-65 win against Rutgers. A win can cement the Wildcats' NCAA tournament berth for the first time ever. While most fans are focused on what happens with John Gross after the season, freshman point guard Tayshaun Lucas said the team isn't looking too far ahead.
That we still got a lot of fight, a lot of dudes that still believe. Even though a lot of people have counted us out or think our season's over, we still think we can do a lot of great things. And our seniors still believe in us, the coaches, all the players, and just come in every day.
Catch the game at 7 p.m. on Big Ten Network. Dave Revson and, yes, John Crispin are on the call. Other Big Ten games tonight include number 14 Purdue takes on the Nittany Lions from Happy Valley at 6 p.m. on Big Ten Network. And Indiana takes on the team that Illinois just beat Iowa City, at 8 p.m. on ESPN. The LA Lakers have fired GM Mitch Kupchak and Executive Vice President Jim Buss. Their new president of basketball operations is none other than Hall of Fame Laker point guard Magic Johnson. And that, my friends, is the Sports Center update.
Thank you, Austin. It's Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter, Jeremy Warner. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. So did we, during that break, Carp, decide on where we want to go with this draft? Because Harry Black, our intern, had a hot take that was stirring up, as we were talking to Cody, I guess, a lot of emotions across the glass.
Well, there were fisticuffs.
Yeah.
But things have quieted down temporarily. I don't know if we need to conjure up that violence again, but I think that here are the options.
Well, because Harry said he enjoys the Spider-Mans, the Tobey Maguire, the first two, and more than he enjoyed the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, which I think everyone else disagrees with.
Well,
I can appreciate the opinion, but I disagree with you.
I will say this.
I think you are wrong.
I will say this to the Nolan trilogy, okay? And I think this is a potential draft in the making. I'll say this about the Nolan trilogy. Dark Knight is tremendous. Heath Ledger is a big part of that. Dark Knight Rises, for all 170 minutes of it or whatever it is, was one of the more disappointing movie-going experiences I've ever had.
I think it was incapable of living up to expectations.
Absolutely.
Because you're following up The Dark Knight. So you would rather just had no movie.
Almost.
I thought it was really entertaining. And for some reason, after The Dark Knight, people thought it had to be the greatest movie ever, when all it had to be was entertaining. And that's what a superhero movie is supposed to be.
But I think you say it was very entertaining. I wasn't that entertained.
Bane?
Bane's okay, but I couldn't
He was
understand half
awesome.
the words he was saying. I don't know. And then Anne Hathaway.
I think you were trying to find a way. See,
No.
I
promise I was not. I went in pretty excited,
I thought
but not
Anne Hathaway's
overly.
character, she was fine.
Yeah,
her character was pointless.
Yeah,
It was, let's get Anne Hathaway in this movie.
And Marion Cotillard.
I love her, though.
I mean, her acting abilities?
Yeah, I think she's good.
She's good, but I don't know. I'm kind of siding with Harry a little bit on at least Dark Knight Rises. Absolutely.
There's so many people that hate on that movie.
Well,
when
here's
it's
my problem.
still was one of the better movies that year.
But I have a wider Christopher Nolan hot take, if I may. I've yet to see Interstellar, and I like sci-fi.
Seen Interstellar?
I have not seen Interstellar.
I think you'd love it.
I probably would like it a lot.
Inception,
I thought was okay, but here's
good.
In its defense, I was not paying as close attention as I should have.
You can't watch that movie without paying ridiculously close attention.
Memento, fun, really cool.
Memento's
The
ridiculous.
Prestige, really cool.
Prestige is just entertaining as heck.
Insomnia was pretty good too. That was kind of a forgotten one with Al Pacino and Robin Williams.
Prestige is probably one of my top 10 favorite movies of all
Okay,
time.
I mean it's really good, but there is something about those movies that he's an incredibly talented director, but there's not ever really a humor valve. There's not ever a release in his movies. Like it's all very.
So you need a Jar Jar Binks in this movie?
No. But not Jar Jar Binks level. But Chewie walks on screen. He's not. You
need an R2D2.
Yeah, I need some beeps and boops.
You need a cute little thing.
Well,
to take your mind away from the seriousness of life.
Well, it's tricky because you're talking to the person that loves There Will Be Blood, right? Which is
You
fairly
are so
humorless.
hypocritical here.
Well, but at the same time,
there is no plot there.
Right.
There is nothing but heavy-handed. We're just going to act well and have pretty pictures and no plot and no entertainment value, no humor, and that's your favorite movie.
Well, yeah. But I take it back about the humor element, though, because the characters are so over the top that I think there was some unintentional humor behind it. But with the Nolan movies, and here's your thing, because you mentioned plot. The Nolan movies, narratively speaking, are very linear. We're getting from point A to point Z, and it's going to follow a very traditional path. And for blockbuster movies, that's terrific, and it's easy to follow, and I appreciate that. But I think that's part of the thing is that I'm not going to call them formulaic because that's not accurate. But it's just this.
Sometimes they're hard to follow. Actually, Inception and Interstellar are really hard to follow. At times.
I don't know.
I don't think they're formulaic.
I wish I could put my finger.
I think you're trying to hate on something.
No, I
think you're trying to find something to pick something apart.
I'm just trying to side with Harry here, and I think I might be onto something with Nolan.
Cliff and Urbana, the intern and his hot take of Spider-Man is fake news.
Alternative facts from Harry Black.
I think
that would be a great new segment if Harry just makes up a bunch of crap.
Rotten Tomatoes. That's the fact, right? I mean, I'm sure Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises was like 85. The Dark Knight was somewhere in the 90s. And here's the thing about the Dark Knight. You're right. You said a bar so high.
It could never.
You know what the drop off was similar to? Empire to Return of the Jedi, right?
Yeah. That's a great, and Return of the Jedi, still a fun movie.
That's a good point. Okay.
It's still a fun, entertaining movie.
I've only seen Dark Knight Rises once. Maybe another go around, I'd appreciate it more.
It's just a fun movie. Bane's really freaking cool. Like that underground scene where he breaks his back over his knee. Yeah, there's some plot holes that I get.
And then he goes in the tunnel, or the hole,
weird,
whatever they call that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do a superhero draft.
Superhero movie draft?
Yeah, superhero movie
draft. Okay,
guys,
interns, we're going to do a superhero movie draft in the 5 o'clock hour.
At the end of the show.
So that's probably 3 picks each. That'll be 15 total movies.
All right, there is I teased this, there is a phrase that needs to stop happening. And if you tweet it, or you post it, or you say it to an athlete or a sports journalist, stop it.
Can you give me a hint as to what it is? This is something maybe I've even been tweeted out about.
I don't think you've probably tweeted it.
But has someone maybe tweeted that to me?
Yes.
Let me guess.
All the time.
Yeah, I think I have a good idea what this is. Does it have something to do with stick to sports?
Yes, that is actually it.
Okay.
Dexter Fowler, this week, was asked about President Trump's travel ban. And whatever your politics are on that, that's fine. But he was asked this because his wife was born in Iran, one of the 7 countries listed on Trump's first executive order. And he gave a quote about it that just gave his opinion. He's like, I'm worried about my family. I don't want to take my daughter over there because she was supposed to go over there to visit family, all those things. He's a legit person to talk to about this to show how it affects him.
Right.
Right? He's a public figure, and he gave his thoughts about it. And it was actually, he didn't go against Trump. He wasn't saying, like, this is the worst thing. Like, he just said, I worried about this. We don't know what it means. All those things. I'm not going to send my child over there to go visit anymore. And somebody put it out on Facebook, this story, linked it, and this isn't just to Cardinals fans. I know Jeff Passan wrote a piece that upset some Cardinals fans, but I think it's worth reading because people went after him. Like, they didn't even understand his quote. I don't think most people read it.
Of course not.
They didn't even read it. They just read the headline and said, we don't care about your opinion.
And it was a poorly constructed headline, too, because it made it seem like it was much more adversarial than it was.
Yes, probably. It was to probably get some clicks and all those things. But and that could be second sources that are just putting out his quote and get a headline just to get people to draw in. So it might not have been the original source. But why can't people have opinions about things anymore? And if you're in sports or you're a sports journalist or an athlete, you can't broadcast, like, you can't talk about your opinions. And the other thing that gets me, Carp, is everything now is politics. Stop talking politics. Like, every issue nowadays is a political thing. It's not true. I mean, that's what bothers me is...
Case in point...
if I retweet something like... I tweeted out that the other day I watched Spotlight, and that this is not the problem. Yet that is, like, we are not the enemy kind of thing.
Yes.
That is really political to people. I don't think that's political that journalism is necessary in this country.
I'd argue it's actually one of the founding principles of our freaking country.
But a lot of people are saying that's political now.
Right, yeah.
Like, that's not political to me.
No, it's not. It's not even remotely controversial either.
So Dexter Fowler, who has a wife born in Iran, whose kid is half Iranian, can't talk about an issue without people saying, I don't care what you think about this. He's a person, right? He's an American citizen. If you can't tweet about, if we can't tweet or talk about anything that's going on in our country or our world, which is way more important than sports, then you can't talk about sports. But we don't say that. You should have opinions about sports. It's valuable. You're a sports watcher, whatever it is. So I hate that, like, everyone, whether it's an actor or anybody, like, you can't have an opinion. We don't want to hear about your opinion. You know what? That's why this country is really divided. We don't talk about these things.
Right.
It's like, well, that's political. Like, you shouldn't talk about that in the open. Well, come on. That's what discourse is all about, to hear different ideas, debate them, talk about them, figure it out. But we close ourselves off to so many different kind of opinions or thoughts or views.
The most hypocritical thing about people that would actually go out of their way to tweet, email, text somebody, stick to sports, which we occasionally get on this show as well, even on the text line.
Yeah, even if we're talking to superhero movie Jeff.
Is the main hypocrisy behind that is this. The equivalent would be, let's say there's a personal account on Twitter, and that person is a banker. And they retweet a story from a newspaper about the immigration ban.
Yeah.
Right? And I tweeted them, stick to banking. Everybody has – so in other words, if we're going to go this route and we're going to say you fit in this nice little box, this nice little predestined box here, and you're a sports writer, right? Oh, well, if that's the case, there's only one thing that you have any authority to speak on. But the question is not even so much do you have the authority to speak on politics. The question is, as you made mention, we are, I would like to think, in a country where discourse is still allowed back and forth. And I think that anyone, no matter how negative you may feel about the administration right now, you can still happily say that I can go on Twitter and I can tweet anything. I can even include the president's at POTUS and say terrible things about him, but it's okay in this country. I would say, or almost argue that it is almost our duty, right, to talk about things if they actually strike us as something that needs to be talked about.
And people will say, well, you tweet it from your account or whatever that is also your work account. It's like, well, you can unfollow. Read my stuff elsewhere.
That is my first responsibility.
It's my right to say what I want. It's your right to unfollow.
And there's a few kinds of interactions that happen
or not listen to us.
Right.
Right. You have that right. And there's I know people have sent us messages. I'm never listening to your show again because of what you said here. Okay.
Don't.
That's fine.
With Twitter, the response that I've tried to go for now is, there is emotion behind politics for whatever reason. And it might seem kind of silly because sports and politics are somewhat interrelated. Oftentimes you have a team or...
I think politics is often treated like sports for
absolutely.
people.
Absolutely. I mean, the entire media...
Root for my team,
well, yeah,
despite what happens.
Think of the media coverage even on election night. That might as well have been a sporting event.
Yep.
And the ratings and everything prove that out.
Probably more entertaining, more...
Probably so.
Yeah.
I mean, more suspense, more of a roller coaster than most sporting events that you've seen. So I think that the way I've tried to deal with it on Twitter is, and certainly if you follow me on Twitter, you're probably well aware of where I stand on the spectrum of certain issues. At the same time, though, there's one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to call out anyone personally for having a differing opinion of me. If someone does the same of me, or if they respond in a way that is snarky, or instead of a counter-argument, it's merely oh, you don't know what you're talking about, or something like that, I say, well, then bring something to the table. Well, let's
have a conversation.
Yeah, let's have a conversation about this.
Like, not just you're right, I'm wrong, or I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing. Let's figure this thing out.
That's basically it. I mean, this is certainly...
Because it's obvious both sides of this thing really didn't talk to each other.
No, that's
how we got to where we are.
Yes.
And you could use that in so many different ways of life, whether it's, local, state, national.
And it's where there was a tweet I had today about political correctness, because there's a lot of things about political correctness, First Amendment, all that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of things to unpack with that. Case in point, the blogger Milo Yiannopoulos that's gotten in trouble, lost his book, all this stuff that he was involved with this week. And what I tweeted out, and I believe this is someone who I don't like political correctness in that it somewhat censors the things we can say when we can say them. And I think ultimately what it does is it has us all walking on eggshells and basically tap dancing around issues instead of just talking about with one another.
Right.
And how refreshing it would be if people were just open and honest with one another. Even people that have views that...
Which is why the president was very popular.
Exactly.
Right? That's a big reason.
And if that is the case, certainly it's not about espousing hateful things, which this Milo Yiannopoulos character has and other politicians and figures have as well. But it is, I think, about being honest with one another and not being afraid to say, here's where I stand. But if you're going to say that, then say, here's why I stand.
And you can see, though, why Michael Jordan didn't say anything. For the longest time, Michael Jordan didn't say anything because it hurt his brand, right? He didn't want to get anything political because people go after it. It's not just now.
Right.
This has been a long time. But if a Dexter Fowler shares his opinion on something that he should have a viewpoint on, that maybe we can learn something from it, don't tell him to shut up.
That he has a
Play
personal
ball.
stake in. Right.
Like, that's what so many people are, and there was a lot of Cardinals fans that were very supportive of him, all of that.
Right.
There are a lot of people just saying, play ball, shut up, I don't care about what you think.
Right.
Okay. I think we should applaud him, especially if he's researched, knows what he's talking about, has an interest in this, and he's got an interesting viewpoint. So whenever you see somebody say something, even if you disagree with him, don't go after him because he said something. Maybe you can disagree with him, and maybe you could talk about that, but just for saying it, no. We shouldn't put down anybody, whether it's Tom Brady supporting President Trump, whether it's somebody else going against him, all that stuff. You shouldn't put him down for that kind of stuff.
And the final point here, I think, is that the overreaction to what was a fairly innocuous comment by Dexter Fowler.
Yeah, and we got a text here. I love you guys, but I follow you for sports expertise. I follow political commentators for politics. Sports is my escape from reality. Yes, but sports and politics have always been combined. Like, whether you want to think it or not, on this show, we've talked about some of those tough issues. Whether it's, a woman referee or a woman assistant coach or all those kind of things. I don't know if that's why is that so political though sometimes? That's not it shouldn't be political.
I am having a hard time, and I'm trying not to be biased about this. I'm having a hard time thinking to a point where we had an overtly partisan discussion on the show about anything.
Yeah.
And if there is an elephant in the room, as there was after Election Day, where you kind of have to address...
You and I talked about it, because that was on people's minds, it was on our minds, and we wanted to get it out there.
It was American history. It was history as we were living.
And we were dealing with it our way, and we wanted to share it with people, and a lot of people tuned out. And that's fine, but that's what we were that's what was on our minds that day. And to start the show, we talked about that. And I don't think it's wrong for anybody to do that, no matter what your medium. Yes, we are mostly a sports show. We also talk pop culture. Like, we're going to talk about superhero movies. But there's also things that are going on in the world that we live through, too. And that's the thing. I know we're an escape from reality, and there's certain shows that will not even touch that stuff because they just want to be your escape for reality.
Yeah.
We want to show who we are. We want to be real. We don't want to ignore all those things. So if you want to tune away for a little bit, okay, that's fine. But we're going to be real with you. Well, and I like that Dexter Fowler was real. He said what he thought, and he wasn't over political, but people are telling him to shut up. I don't like that no matter where you are. We're on the political spectrum.
And I think ultimately, too, is that, and people certainly have the prerogative to turn us out or even think, guys, really, do you have to go that direction? And I understand that. But I think when it comes to Dexter Fowler or anybody letting their opinion be known, and again, if you go back and read that story, it was a pretty innocuous thing that he said, that it's better, I think, ultimately, to have the conversation than to end it before it begins.
Yeah.
And what that allows all of us to do is whatever opinion you may have or whatever side of the spectrum you may be on with certain issues, that allows you yourself to think about them, in which I've had to do myself introspective and think, okay, why is it that I believe this? Is it because it's something I've picked up like a sponge through the years and I don't really have any basis behind it?
I think even myself, after the election, I thought, I didn't hear a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Or I didn't try to listen to a lot of people. So I think that's important. We should hear different people, and I've tried to go out of my way to do that and follow different people with different views. And I think that's a good thing when we all hear that. I just think there should be more discourse.
Bill on the text line, stick to sports. Goes back to finishing restaurant review on Yelp.
We will. We're
all
back to
critics,
sports
though, right?
Coming up next.
Everybody.
We're going to talk Brad Sturdy, orangeandbluenews.com at 5:25. We'll do our superhero movie draft where Harry picks Spider-Man in the first round.
We'll see. It'll be a snake draft format. We'll see if Harry gets the number one pick, and then I think we should give him the number one pick.
Yeah, because he would take, I don't know, who would be a terrible, like Anthony Bennett.
Deadpool, right? That's Harry's favorite movie, Deadpool. No, it's not.
Pretty
Not
good.
At all. It is the Tay and J Show.
Hey, it's me, your finest. What, you don't know what I sound like? Well, it ain't pretty. So get a precision tune-up from the experts to save up to 30% on energy bills and keep me quietly heating all season long. Though I do have a beautiful singing voice. Oh, Danny boy.
At Chief Bauer Service Experts, get $41 off a precision tune-up. For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com.
Call 866-EXPERTS.
It seems like in every home, there's at least one room that's either too hot or too cold. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Mitsubishi Electric has your comfort solution. Mitsubishi Electric cooling and heating systems are up to 40% more efficient with no ductwork and whisper quiet. Individual room control, giving you the freedom to find your perfect comfort level and save money too. Make your whole home comfortable again. See Lance Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for your comfort solution and live better.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Lands is your local Mitsubishi Electric Diamond dealer. Our technicians are experts at solving your comfort needs, one room or your whole house. Let us show you how a Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling System can save you money now. Your comfort is our priority. Call Lands today at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR or find us online at landsinc.com. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
Join Jackson Chiropractic and the Hilton Garden Inn for the 9th Annual Prom Benefit 2017 in support of the Eastern Illinois Food Bank. Saturday, March 11th at the Hilton. This year's theme is the Roaring Twenties. Individual tickets are $100 per person and include heavy hors d'oeuvres, open bar, musical entertainment, and a silent and live auction with 6 all-inclusive vacation. Tickets will sell fast for this popular event benefiting the Eastern Illinois Food Bank. Get more information and buy tickets at eifoodbank.org.
Napa know-how.
Back at New Year's, you made a resolution to save more money. Just so happens, Pennzoil's family of oils are on sale starting at $3.49 a quart. So you can check Save Money off your list and bask in the glory of actually seeing a resolution through to the end. With the Pennzoil family of oils starting at $3.49 a quart. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer expires 2/28/17.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents a story about Nana's cake.
It's Nana's 80th birthday, and you accidentally locked your keys in the car, along with her ice cream cake. No worries. This is a happy story. You have Liberty Mutual Insurance with 24-hour roadside assistance, and help is on the way. Liberty saves the day, and Nana even gives you an extra piece of unmelted cake.
Visit a local office or call 844-8-LIBERTY. You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Optional towing and labor coverage. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Warner. And one final week, guys, Prairie View Landscaping up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care service. You got to sign up by this Thursday. That's February 23rd. And you can win free lawn care for the entire year. A random winner will be picked on Friday. So email mypbdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote. That's mypbdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote. Prairie View Landscaping. Again, mypbdiscount@gmail.com.
He's Mike Carpenter. I'm Jeremy Warner. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. Illinois Northwestern tonight. Also, we talked about, obviously, Illinois a lot in the first hour. Talked about what Illinois fans are rooting for. And we mentioned that Pat Forty weighed in on the Illinois potential opening, and that he's kind of basically heard the same stuff we have. It's nothing new that Quanzo Martin and Monty Williams have been mentioned as names that could be attached to this thing. He also mentioned Fred Hoiberg. We talked with Cody. We don't see that happening, just timing-wise. And I think Fred wants to coach in the NBA, and I think the Bulls want him to coach for another year.
And you know what? I'm not heartbroken about that.
No, neither am I. But Pat also mentions Indiana. He says, a lot of people on the outside seem more prepared for something to happen than the people on the inside. The injury-ravaged Hoosiers have lost 4 straight and 6 of 7, sliding out of the field of 68 for the time being. The remaining schedule is tough, 3 out of 4 on the road, starting with Iowa on Tuesday, and it would take an improbable rally to change the tenor of the season. But widespread speculation about Crean looking to jump before being pushed runs into the familial reality. His son Riley is enrolling at Indiana next year as a member of the baseball team. Leaving would seem to be closer to his last option than his first option. After winning the Big Ten last year, Indiana let Crean's contract length dip to less than 4 years, which gets tricky in recruiting. Now the administration may have to make a decision. Extend him after a disappointing season or don't offer an extension and basically put the writing on the wall. The Indiana Crean situation might be the latest case of Tubby syndrome in college basketball, where it's simply time for both sides to contemplate something new. That was the case when Tubby Smith left Kentucky, and to a lesser degree the case when he left Minnesota for Texas Tech. There are 2 other potential cases for Tubby syndrome in the Big Ten. He mentioned Thad Matta, who athletic director Gene Smith is supportive of his coaches and probably wouldn't urge Matta to go elsewhere, but you wonder if it's time for a reboot. And then he says Fran McCaffrey at Iowa. This Iowa team is very young. McCaffrey coming off 3 straight NCAA bids, and we know Iowa is loyal to its coaches. Ask Kirk Ferentz. But is it possible that volatile Fran is feeling a 7-year itch after many seasons in Iowa City? I think Fran's going to be there for a while.
I think so, too.
I mean, maybe he jumped. The guy I think was most likely to jump ship on his own would be Tom Crean. Right? If NC State comes after him, maybe Mizzou comes after him.
Yeah.
And decides, okay, I did what I could do at Indiana. I'm probably going to get fired next year. Let's go find something else. Get my 5-6-year contract from somebody else.
It's hard to picture him there 5 years from now.
Yeah, it really is.
Coming up, 5:25, Brad Sturdy next. Drive Time. It is the Tay and J Show.
Get back every penny you earn this tax season with My TurboTax from Busey. The program guides you every step of the way with special help for first-time users. Plus, your information is imported directly from Busey eBank, making it easier than ever to file the most accurate data. Don't delay. Get started on your maximum refund today. Visit Busey.com, log into eBank, and click on My TurboTax. Busey, your dream, our promise. Member FDIC.
DP Dough is the original Calzone company, and they cater all types and sizes of events, from office orders to private parties to entire visiting football teams. Everyone will be sure to enjoy something different than the same old sandwiches or pizza. DP Dough also delivers to nearly all of Champaign, Urbana, and Savoy until late at night. So give them a call or order online when you're hungry and no one else is delivering. With over 1 million calzones served since opening in 2006, DP Dough is sure to satisfy and fill you up. DP Dough, the original calzone company.
If you aren't getting a great night's sleep, let us help you change that. Introducing Crown Jewel by Sealy, brand new and available exclusively at Illini Mattress. Sealy Crown Jewel mattresses are designed to provide the support you need with the comfort you'll love. Queen size sets start at only $2.99. Don't lose any more sleep. Experience this incredible new exclusive collection at family-owned Illini Mattress today.
ILLINI. Cheer on the Illini at Pia's. The pregame fun starts at Pia's Sports Bar and Grill. Pia serves up its famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger along with great wings and so much more. Enjoy 350 22-ounce light and course light drafts every home and away Illini game. Watch the game at Pia's or ride the free shuttle to all home games. You'll find it all at Pia's with live video gaming, sports, food, drinks, and fun. See you at Pia's, West Springfield Avenue in Champaign.
Now that I've joined Audible, my train time has turned more, well, intense. As I listen to Zachary Quinto narrate The Dispatcher.
I was the direct and immediate cause of his death. That's who I am. That's my job. I'm a dispatcher.
And I'm an accountant.
Get The Dispatcher free when you start a 30-day trial at audible.com/actnow. Audible. Turn anytime into story time.
Register to win our all-expense-paid trip to Mesa, Arizona for Cub Spring Training. Final day to register is Thursday, March 2nd. Then we'll invite 100 finalists to our giveaway party March 13th from 6 to 8 p.m., hosted by Budweiser and Bud Light. Register at Rosati's Pizza, South Gregory, Urbana, Vapors, E-Sig, Champaign, and Danville, Champaign Surplus, downtown Champaign, Honda BMW in Savoy, and the U of I Meat Sales Room on Maryland in Urbana. Trip includes $1,000 for travel, 3 nights at the Sheraton in Mesa, rental car, post-game dinner with select players, and Cubs merchandise. Get more details at ESPNCU.com. Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney. More people living in the U.S. illegally are being considered a priority for deportation.
The memo regarding the executive order enhancing public safety in the interior of the United States outlines several practices and policies in order to strengthen the efficient and faithful execution of this country's immigration laws.
White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer, Department of Homeland Security memos are aimed mainly at illegal immigrants convicted of crimes, but also at those suspected of committing crimes. President Trump calls recent threats against Jewish community centers horrible and painful. After a tour of the National Museum of African American History and Culture, the president denounced bigotry, intolerance, and hatred in all forms. More reservoirs, rivers, and dams are being overwhelmed by all the rain in California. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has a live report.
Kathleen, San Jose officials are using boats to rescue people from their homes in one low-lying neighborhood that was flooded from rising waters out of a creek called Coyote Creek.
It is very labor-intensive, and there's lots of victims. Like I said, we're at 186 now.
Mitch Matlow with the fire department said they were going through roughly 60 multi-unit buildings looking for people. After they're pulled out onto a boat, they're taken to be decontaminated because of what's in the water.
Automotive fluids, because there's lots of vehicles in the water right now. Sewage, because it's coming up from the pipes.
As well as household cleaning chemicals and garbage from dumpsters, Kathleen.
Thanks, Jessica. A federal appeals court has upheld Maryland's ban on 45 assault weapons, ruling they are weapons of war and not protected by the Second Amendment. Stock indexes close at record high gains. The Dow climbing 118 points, the S&P gaining 14, NASDAQ up 27. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Some scary moments at Texas Medical Center in Houston after reports of shots fired, but a police search turned up no evidence of a shooting.
If there was a threat, that threat is not present here now. We have thoroughly searched this facility, every floor, on more than one occasion.
Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo, dozens of officers and SWAT team members responded to the hospital after reports of gunfire. Chicago is giving its police department new high-tech software to help them locate where shots have been fired.
They'll be able to access real-time intelligence information and instant notifications from ShotSpotter through mobile phones equipped with the software.
Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson, there were more than 3,500 shootings in Chicago last year, a 58% increase over 2015. Police in Barcelona are investigating a man they say drove a truck loaded with butane gas tanks at a high speed against traffic on a busy highway.
The truck was only brought to a halt after police opened fire and it crashed into a wall. Authorities saying the driver was a Swedish man who stole the vehicle, then drove off at speed. At one point, driving the wrong way down a road, heading into traffic and ramming cars.
D'una acció o d'un atemptat o d'una acció terrorista.
Police saying there's no indications it was a terrorist attack, and the Spanish government says the driver has a history of psychiatric conditions. 3 people were injured during the chase, including a woman who was hit by a gas bottle that fell from the truck. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
American and United are joining a few other airlines offering cheaper basic economy fares, but you don't get much more than a lower price. You can't pick a seat when you book the flight. You're in the last group to board, and your carry-on has to be small enough to fit under the seat. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you comfortable all year long, whether it's heating or AC expert. Give them a call at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 50. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 70, low of 49. Thursday, chance of thunderstorms, high 67, a low of 57. Right now, mostly cloudy, 61 degrees in Champaign-Urbana. It is Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For new and used vehicles, visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash and Savoy, or visit them online at drivechampaign.com. Mike Carpenter, this will recap the first 2 hours of the Tay and J Show.
And we started things off with Illinois Northwestern tonight. Kind of an intriguing matchup. Not sure what it means long term, if it means anything at all.
It would have been great if Illinois were 7-7 right now.
I go back and forth on that.
I think for tonight's game, it would make an awesome game.
Absolutely.
Great atmosphere.
I think I'm so far into this season that it's hard to hypothetical whether or not they'd be looking at a tournament berth or not.
But for Northwestern's angle, this is a huge game, possibly historic. They have never won more than 20 games in a year. They're sitting at 20 right now. They're 20-7. They're also 9-5 in the Big Ten. They have never finished higher than 500. They finished 500 in the Big Ten once.
Yeah.
They've never finished higher in the Big Ten than 500. This would give them 10 wins and clinch that, and that'd be the first time they'd ever have 10 Big Ten wins in a season. So for Northwestern, there's a lot to play for tonight. For Illinois, it's about pride and trying to keep some kind of hope alive that they could have some huge run. But this would mark, if they win tonight, Carp, it'd be the first time they win back-to-back games since they beat, I think it was Northwestern and Nebraska, back-to-back at home in 2015.
2015,
2 years ago.
Wow. Okay, so that Nebraska...
Everyone back-to-back Big Ten games in 2 years.
Yeah, that was at the tail end of the 2015 year, and they were kind of teetering whether they'd make the tournament or not back then. Of course, they didn't. So here we are, 5-9. Not really sure if there's any path for the NCAA tournament. But if you were to say you could only win one game the rest of the year, I would pick tonight. And I can actively root for this team because I do think that the tables, the book has been closed already as far as what is going to happen at the end of the season, which to me, after the Penn State game, was liberating in a sense.
Yeah, and that was our conversation a lot of the first hour is a lot of fans feel conflicted right now because they want change, but they also want to see their team win. They'd like to see these kids win, especially Malcolm Hill. You'd love to see him get to some kind of postseason play just to extend his career, maybe get up to the top 3 in scoring all time at Illinois, because I think he's really easy to root for. But at the same time, I think fans go, man, if they lose tonight, it's probably written. Though we don't know what Josh Whitman is thinking, if he's already made up his decision or he's still evaluating.
In that regard, it is a win-win. I mean, judging by the texts and the tweets that we got, it seems like a lot of people are conflicted, much like I was. I was more conflicted probably a week and a half ago than I am tonight, but even so, if I walk out of the stadium tonight and Illinois loses, they're 5-10, we can certifiably 100%. Right now, we're probably about, 95% certain that there's going to be a change. It's 100% they lose tonight. So I guess that's your silver lining, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind playing spoiler tonight. And I don't know what's going to happen in Northwestern the rest of the year, but their schedule does not really lighten up for them.
Yeah, and Scotty Lindsey, though he's back, and everyone's going to say, oh, it's going to be a different team, I don't know how good he is. He had 6 points in his first game back from mono. He missed 4 games, and most people will tell you it might take a month to get back to full strength from mono. So I don't know how much of a factor he'll be yet. I don't think he's back there physically, but obviously he adds another threat, and I think Scotty Lindsey's the big reason this team has leapt from an NIT kind of team to all of a sudden it's an NCAA tournament team, no doubt. Scotty Lindsey's improvement from 6 points a game to 16 is a big part of that. So, but Bryant McIntosh is a player. He makes a bunch of big plays, even if he's not all that efficient. And Vic Law, but Illinois played well against this team, and you're a 2-point dog at home in Vegas, but I think this Illinois team should beat Northwestern at home, given what happened up in Evanston.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't count on them.
But they probably should have beaten Penn State at home. Probably should have beaten Minnesota at home, even though Minnesota is playing, I think, pretty good ball by.
And if you would have,
be a different ball.
We'd be talking about a big game.
Yeah, well, if you were holding serve at home, and that goes back to the Maryland game back in January, where you would be in a much different spot, or for that matter, Winthrop.
By the way, Penn State up early, 12-4 on Purdue, an early game tonight.
5 o'clock.
They got the triple header, I think, on Big Ten Network tonight.
What's the 9 o'clock game?
Is that Indiana at Iowa?
Must be.
That's a late game for people in Bloomington.
They won't be watching. They probably they don't like Tom Crean anyways, and similar to how Illinois fans didn't really tune in Saturday. Yeah. I got to think it's kind of the same over there.
I mean, obviously you're watching for Tijon Lucas, who's been great. He keeps getting better, and it just makes you say, man, just would have gotten him in earlier. But he's obviously progressing. You want to see Jalen Coleman-Lands and LaRon Black end the year well. I wonder if Michael Finke starts tonight, because he's better than LaRon Black right now, I think, on both ends of the floor.
By considerable margin, too.
And I think with him and Tijon are such a good combo. Like, when they're on the court together, that's a really good combo, and that's when Finke plays his best.
It's going to be interesting to see how many people come out. I think the 7 o'clock start helps. I think Northwestern helps. I think the idea of playing spoiler kind of helps as well. And I'll also be anxious. This is sort of entering the Lions den for me after Central Michigan being the last game I was there. So I wasn't there for all these atmospheres at the State Farm Center since mid-December or so. I'll be interested to gauge it if Illinois falls down 8-2 early, or if they make a rally like they did against Penn State. How much energy does this fan base have left to expend, or are they bordering on apathy? Yeah. I think it's somewhere in between.
We didn't talk about this yet, but Adam Schefter just tweeted this out, that the Chicago Bears have actively started seeking a trade partner for quarterback Jay Cutler. That's per Jeff Darlington of ESPN.
All right. Well,
so the Jay Cutler era is done.
Yeah, as we figured.
Yeah, so we knew that. Do you think they'll find somebody to trade for him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who do you think? I mean,
I like Harry Black's idea, the Jets. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Get him back with B. Marsh.
Yeah, and it just makes I can already see the headlines in the NY Daily
Forte's
News,
still
the
there,
New York
right?
Post. Yes, Forte's still there. Brandon
Let's get
Marshall.
the old crew back together. Go 8-8, New York Jets.
Exactly. They are the prototypical 8-8 team, especially in that division.
There just aren't many teams that are probably even in the market for it. The other team I could think of, because their quarterback is coming off a serious injury and their coach has a history with them, how about Miami? Adam Gase? Would they trade like a 6th rounder just to have him maybe as a starter to start the season?
I could see that.
I mean, Tannehill's got some comparisons to Jay Cutler a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Jay would be that role of teaching, but he'd give him some competitiveness and give you a guy.
Remember when Ryan Tannehill looked like a Hall of Famer against Mark Trestman's defense a couple years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, sad
I
but
guess
true.
the Arizona Cardinals aren't interested.
Okay.
The 49ers and Browns, I don't think would touch him.
No, because they're going to win anyways.
No, they'll go with a younger guy. I think the Browns would actually go for Garoppolo.
You know what? I will actively be rooting for Jay Cutler wherever he lands.
Will you?
Yes.
So will I. I kind of like Jay.
I got no beef with Jay.
No. It's kind of our Johnny Manziel without all the addictions.
We saw the games without Jay Cutler. I mean, do Bears fans forget how god-awful they were the last 8 years without him?
That's how I was. I was sitting there going, nah, he's not the guy. But dang it, he was so much better than everyone else before him.
So much. And you know what? It got to the point where at least I could laugh when he made a completely boneheaded play.
Yeah, I mean,
you could count on 3 of them a game.
That was his problem.
Yeah, pretty much.
How about the Broncos? Would they trade back for him? No.
Nah. They'll probably ride that, Trevor Siemian?
The Texans, no. They'll probably go for Romo or something.
Mm-hmm. Is the Brock Osweiler era
If you were
already
the
over?
Texans, would you rather have Jay Cutler than what
Romo?
you have?
Yes.
Than Romo?
Then Romo or Osweiler, yeah.
Okay.
I would.
That'd be an interesting team. They got great defense, and Cutler made the NFC Championship game with a great defense.
When you say Jay throw 20 times a game, he's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, if you can run the football and have good defense, I mean, he's going to cost you a game or two, but he's better than what you got.
Yeah,
in Houston.
a lot better than what you got.
We also talked about the Chicago Bulls with Cody Westerlund, 670thescore.com. He doesn't get the feeling the Bulls will trade Jimmy Butler, that Boston will pay the price to get a Jimmy Butler. And you don't make that move unless you get a ridiculous deal. And Cody agrees that probably includes one really good young player, whether that's Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart, and that Nets pick. I don't know if Boston's going to be willing to do that. I would do that probably. If I were the Bulls, I think that gets you off on a good foot, and probably going to have a high draft pick next year because you're going to lose next year, but you got a core. You got a young core. You just don't have the assets, Carp, around Jimmy Butler to go get him that other guy. I mean, Niko Mirotic, they could trade in the next couple of days. Second rounder. Taj Gibson, what are you going to get? A second rounder? Doug McDermott's not getting you a first rounder.
No.
And none of those guys are star players. And Dwayne Wade probably going to leave after the year or stay one more year, and they'll be average.
It's crazy to think how they really mirror the Bears organization probably about 6-7 years ago when you were at the tail end of the Lovie Smith era, and you knew that you had that championship window. Certainly, it's different in the NBA when you have LeBron James in your conference, but this fall was not really graceful for the Bulls, and to see how bad they are right now, and to not really look in the immediate future and think that there's much hope at all, even with the Jimmy Butler. So if they can get it done, great. As you said, don't sell him for less than what he's worth, and he is worth a lot. He is a proven commodity, and not just that. You say he's a top 12 player. He absolutely is.
Yes.
So that's something that you need to get immense value back for, and hope that Boston is ready to pull the trigger right now.
Oh, and we also said don't tell sports writers and athletes to stick to sports. They're people with thoughts. That's it.
That we did.
Just don't close yourself off to people. Like, they actually have thoughts other than sports.
See, Jeremy, mixed responses to that controversial thought on the text line. But you know what? Hey, I will say this. I appreciate anyone that takes the time to text the show or anyone that takes the time to listen to it.
We had a lot of good people weighing in today, so we appreciate that. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255, that's Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign for new or used vehicles. Visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash and Savoy, or visit them online at drivechampaign.com. Coming up next, we'll talk some Illini hoops with Brad Sturdy, orangeandbluenews.com.
Tay and J Show.
Here's your chance to win cash and do something good for animals during our Paws for the Cause Pet Food and Supplies Drive. First Financial Bank invites you to enter our pet photo contest. 25 winners throughout our service area will each receive a $100 cash prize. If you win, we'll also donate $100 to the nonprofit animal welfare organization of your choice. For entry details and official rules, visit our website at first-online.com. First Financial Bank. Member FDIC.
Hey, Champaign County, it's Stephanie Pratt, Coldwell Banker Honig Bell, your realtor that rocks the real estate market. If you like to rock, then you're going to love this. I've teamed up with ESPN Radio, and this week I'm giving you and one of your coolest rocker friends a chance to go see Dawkins and my man, Jack Russell's Great White in Effingham on Saturday, February 25th. Hey, there's a bonus. We get to rock a limo to and from the show with my friend Dwayne at Bishop Platinum Limousines online at bishopplatinum.com. It's so gonna rock. So sign up to win today at espncu.com.
Hey, Champaign-Urbana, want something new for lunch? Try a Jetsy from Jets Pizza. Their famous deep dish pizza dough, baked into a golden crust and layered with the freshest ingredients. Try one at either store in Champaign for just $6.49. Life is short. Eat better pizza. Let's
get Jets. Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
This is Eric Bolin with Provident Financial Group. What will you do during the next market correction? At Provident, we believe a sound financial plan is the surest way to avoid panic during market volatility. Contact us today to put a plan in place for you. Find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com. Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network.
Provident, partnerships built on trust.
Member FINRA, SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Now that I've joined Audible, my train time has turned more, well, intense. As I listen to Zachary Quinto narrate The Dispatcher.
I was the direct and immediate cause of his death. That's who I am. That's my job. I'm a dispatcher.
And I'm an accountant.
Get The Dispatcher free when you start a 30-day trial at audible.com/actnow. Audible. Turn anytime into story time.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hello, I'm Austin Berkman with your 5:30 Sports Center update brought to you by Prairie View Landscaping. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote, and you can get up to 25% off your 2017 lawn care. That's Prairie View Landscaping at mypvdiscount@gmail.com. The Illini take on their rivals Northwestern tonight from the State Farm Center. The Wildcats are coming off a 69-65 win against Rutgers. A win can submit the Wildcards' NCAA tournament berth for the first time ever. After missing 4 games with mono, including the Illini's win in Evanston, Northwestern's leading scorer, Scotty Lindsey, will play tonight. He scored 6 points in 24 minutes in his first game back. John Gross says Lindsey will make the Wildcats a bigger challenge.
Well, as I said earlier, obviously he's a 15-point-per-game scorer, so that gets your attention, the efficiency at which he does it, his shot-making ability. He can handle the ball and create his own shot. He, stretches the floor for their team, and he provides them, like you're saying, Scott, with another scorer, another shooter out there, which makes him even more difficult to defend.
Catch the game at 7 p.m. on Big Ten Network. Dave Revson and, yes, John Crispin are on the call. Other Big Ten games tonight include Purdue taking on the Nittany Lions from Happy Valley right now. And Indiana takes on a team that Illinois just beat, Iowa, from Iowa City at 8 p.m. on ESPN. The Bears are in active trade discussions for Jay Cutler, according to ESPN's Jeff Darlington. The LA Lakers have fired GM Mitch Kupchak and Executive Vice President Jim Buss. Their new president of basketball operations is none other than Hall of Fame Laker point guard Magic Johnson. And that, my friends, is the Sports Center Update.
Spring is crunch time for the majority of high school seniors. College acceptances will arrive in March or April, and decisions and a big deposit must be made by May. So Busey recommends reviewing 2 key questions as you evaluate college acceptances. 1, how well does the school meet your child's needs? Make a second campus visit. Learn more about academics, extracurriculars, student life. And what is the cost to you and your child? $9,410. That is the average tuition and fees for residents at public 4-year universities. Compare out-of-pocket costs at each college, including tuition, room and board, books, personal expenses, transportation, and thoroughly review each acceptance packet. Look at financial aid, loans, grants, scholarships, work-study opportunities. College saving strategies for families. The sooner you save, the better. Even modest savings can add up over time. It might be difficult for families to save all 4 years, but Busey encourages you to set a goal to save for 1 year at the least. College is closer than you think. Curb rising tuition prices with Busey. Stop by one of their many convenient locations today or call 1-800-67-BUSEY to get started.
It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. He's Mike Carpenter. I'm Jeremy Warner. Lon Tay will be back for one day tomorrow, and then he goes on yet another vacation.
Indeed. Who's going to be joining you Friday?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet.
That's fine.
Austin will be here. Harry will be here. Maybe I'll get Piper in.
All right.
Maybe guest host for a day. It's always fun.
I mean, the good thing is we got a nice stable
of
helpers this spring, so I think it's going to be a good show Friday.
We do. But let's get to the Jupiter's at the Crossing phone line. Don't forget, Tuesdays get half off large pizzas all day at Jupiter's at the Crossing. Let's talk some Illini hoops ahead of tonight's tip-off against Northwestern with our guy Brad Sturdy, orangeandbluenews.com.
Study Zone, talking hoops. Study Zone, talking hoops. Study Zone and he's talking hoops. Study Zone and he's talking hoops.
Brad Sturdy, read his stuff at Sturdy32 on Twitter. What's going on, Brad Sturdy?
How are you doing?
Yeah,
ready for a barn burner tonight over at the State Farm Center.
We
Should be fun.
We were just talking, Brad. If Illinois were 7-7, like they should be in Big Ten play, this would be a fun atmosphere tonight.
It really would. You know, and then you throw in a Winthrop game where they kind of threw it away in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and boy, you're right where you should be. If you could just beat Penn State and Minnesota at home, 2 games that you thought coming into the year, you should beat, and you probably aren't in bad position. And you know, we don't have people on our message boards just trying to figure out who the next coach is going to be every 5 minutes. So, but yeah, it's definitely it's going to be a great atmosphere if they just take care of business in a couple of other games.
Let's try to reestablish with Brad. That phone line's a little iffy. So if Brad's driving, we can try maybe a little bit later.
Yeah, sounds good.
But yeah, I mean, this would have been a really interesting game if Illinois were 7-7, even if Northwestern's the same record. That would have been a big primetime game with NCAA tournament implications.
And it's not unreasonable. I'm trying to think of the 2 games that Illinois really let slip away. I mean, you could argue Minnesota, but I feel like Minnesota was just better than you anyways.
Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland's the big one.
I think Maryland and Winthrop are the really huge ones that you can think of.
What if you were 6-8 right now, but that 6th win was Maryland, and you also beat Winthrop at home? So you take that bad loss in the non-conference.
So if you're 6-8 right now, you'd still have a legit chance. I mean, Maryland would have been a bigger marquee win. 6-8, obviously they got a lot of work to do, but you'd still be 16-11 overall, kind of sitting where Indiana is a little bit. Mm-hmm. They got a couple more marquee wins. They got some bad losses, but you'd have a chance, a lot better chance than you have right now, even if you just, you'd be 17-10 at that point with no bad losses really.
Okay, well, but you aren't.
No.
Not to be a naysayer, but.
No. Is Brad back?
Yes, Brad. Brad, can you hear us okay?
Yep, I'm good.
There we go. Perfect.
2 road wins in a row. Now they just got to figure out how to win one at home, Brad. Haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, no kidding. And it's funny. I almost go back to something that I talked about, many years ago, back when in Weber's kind of last year. The players put so much more pressure on themselves, I think, at home.
Yeah.
And they go on the road. They play almost like they have nothing to lose and go out there and compete. And then they get at home and the shots are starting to get a little tight, and they miss shots that they can make, and they start to put pressure on themselves. You can see a little bit in the body language sometimes. And then when things start going poorly and they get behind, it kind of snowballs, and you kind of see it. And then the next thing you know, you're down 15 points or whatever, and then you're trying to make some miraculous comeback. And it seems like that's been the last couple of games. It's been like that, where they just play a little tight at home instead of playing loose like most teams do. They play better at home, and I think that maybe when they go on the road, there's less pressure, and they don't have to hear all the negativity and all the things kind of surrounding the program that there is right now.
The one thing I will give this team, Brad, and I never expected them to quit, because John Gross isn't a quitter, and I think he's kind of done it well with this team where he has gotten them to focus at one game at a time. They just don't perform very well most of the time. So, but with the fans, we're talking about how they're kind of conflicted right now. They kind of almost want the team to lose, so they know their coach is going to be gone, but at the same time, it's their team, and they want these players to do well. Are you getting that kind of sense too?
Yeah, no doubt. That's what I've heard too. It's like, of course, they always want to beat Northwestern. That's a game they would love to sweep Northwestern, and I think everybody's like that. But then there's some people legitimately just don't want to see them win because they feel like, that Gross isn't the right guy, so they want to see him lose. And so, there's two sides to it, and so it makes it tough kind of thing. Me personally, I'm just, it's a game, and you just kind of, you watch it. We obviously being guys that, are been around the program for a while, you want to see him win. You'd love to see Malcolm Hill play in an NCAA tournament before he's done. And it'd be a shame to see him not get to play in an NCAA tournament in 4 years. And so I guess we'll see what happens. But, I can definitely see where a lot of people are conflicted.
Brad Sturdy, orangeandbluenews.com, and on Twitter at Sturdy32. And I'm going tonight myself, Brad, and I've been firmly in that camp where – I feel as if you're trading the long-term future of the program for a short-term endorphin rush after a victory like this. But at the same time, with these 4 games left, I think a lot of Illini fans, if they were to circle one of these 4 games to win, even just for a temporary feel-good kind of moment, it would certainly be tonight against Northwestern.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is a game they'd want to win. They'd love to beat Chicago's Big Ten team, at the State Farm Center. And, so it's kind of, but I understand your conflict too. I see where people can say that. And I understand people said that with, back when Weber was going through this, where people were like, I think they need a change, and then, Weber was one of those guys kind of like Lazarus, about the time you think you write his, eulogy, and then they go on and win like 24, 25 games and or win a tournament game or something. And then, then he's back for another year. So, and maybe Gross is going to be that way too. Maybe, they win 4 in a row here and win a couple in the Big Ten tournament. And all this was just speculation for naught. So we'll see.
What did you take away from the Iowa game? It's a win on the road, so you can't discredit them for that. At the same time, there were so many prolonged periods of bad basketball in that game that
I've never seen so many travels.
I said yesterday, Brad, it kind of felt like a win by default. And again, it's a road win, so I feel kind of dirty saying that. But yeah, it just didn't seem to. A win like that, I should say, isn't probably going to inspire a ton of confidence. But I have to think the team, though, any sort of win, it'll be interesting to see how they come out the first 4 minutes tonight, because I feel like that will say a lot of what this game is going to be like.
Yeah, I agree. The thing about the Iowa game and the Northwestern game before, those two teams are the one thing Illinois has not. They've struggled with are teams that are very athletic. The athletic teams. You look at the West Virginia and the Florida State games. Those teams give them trouble. Guards that are exceptionally quick have given them trouble. And you look at it in the Big Ten, the athletic teams have given them more trouble. It seems like they've competed well with those teams that aren't quite as athletic, like in Iowa, even in like Michigan at home, and like Northwestern in Evanston. Those are teams that aren't overly, they aren't crazy athletic. They aren't super quick. They don't have, and I think that's where Illinois and Iowa, you could see that, where Iowa isn't, a bunch of, crazy bouncy athletes. The guys off their bench are actually more athletic probably than their starters. They're not as skilled, but they're maybe more athletic. And so Illinois was able to compete, and they hung around the game, and then they made some plays down the stretch to win, and that's good. So we'll just kind of have to see how that goes. But I do agree. That was just some hideous basketball for like long stretches where you're wondering, like, is this ever going to end? You're watching it and you're just seeing some plays that, it looks like a middle school game at times with some of the travels and the things that were happening.
Brad Sturdy, I've asked this question a lot this week of some of our guests, even Carp. You got 5 core players, I believe, returning next season for whoever's coaching this thing. Tajon Lucas, Jalen Coleman-Lands, Kipper Nichols, Michael Finke, LaRon Black. Of those guys, how would you rank them in terms of how good they're going to be in the future?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Well, the first thing I would say is in college basketball, you never know who's going to be back.
Right.
I mean, just with, with the sheer number of transfers that people have, it's kind of crazy when that goes. But, if you'd asked me before the season, I would have had a different ranking for sure.
Yeah.
But the guys that I think Nichols has a lot of upside. I mean, his shot is much better than I anticipated. He shoots the ball much better than you thought. I mean, you thought he was more of a slasher. It seems like he's been a really good spot up shooter too. And then Finke and Lucas. The guys who have been disappointing to me are Coleman, Lambs, and Black, because I feel like those guys had a lot of hype coming in, and they really haven't lived up to that. Even you look at LeBron Black when they went on their trip a year ago, and how he's putting up 15 and 13 and things like that, putting up these great numbers. And Jalen Coleman Lambs was shot so well last year, and they both have not been the same player. I mean, players that they have been, or they haven't developed their game and expanded it to be more than, Laurent's basically a pretty good defensive rebounder who can make a 15-foot jump shot. Jalen Coleman Lambs is a three-point shooter who really can't handle the ball, doesn't put the ball on the floor, and is a great passer. So they haven't changed their story there. I think the other guys, with Lucas and Nichols and Finke, you've seen them expand their game or maybe become more than they were before. Maybe it's gradual, maybe it's steady, but they've at least been improving. So that's why I look at those guys as being guys that maybe can. Lucas could make a huge jump next year, freshman to sophomore year, because most kids do. And he's been solid this year, not great, but very solid. And I think next year he could be a very positive player for Illinois.
Do you think Finke starts tonight?
I mean, you know what? Trying to figure out the starting rotations is one of the hardest things I think I've ever seen, but I think he should.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. How about that?
Brad, I was talking with Steve Breitweiser last night, and really this has been a subject on the Tay and J Show and the Tuner level this conference season specifically, that here we are in late February, and it feels like a pretty solid Big Ten rotation has kind of been figured out. But that's very frustrating knowing that it took this long to get to an 8-9 man rotation where you feel good about things and feel like you can actually win against quality opponents. Is that ultimately what we'll look back on this year and say that was the biggest signal that perhaps this coaching staff didn't have as much of a grasp on their roster as they should have?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, I think that's definitely true. I mean, you look at Mike Thorne. I mean, when's the last time, he saw any significant time? It's been a while. And, Jalen Tate will go 2 games and not play, and then suddenly he's back in the rotation. And then, Aaron Jordan starts one game, and I know it was because Jalen Coleman Lance had been late to some things, and so he didn't get the start. But at the same time, Jordan plays 4 minutes, and then he never plays again. I mean, so they're just some really odd things that kind of show that they're it's almost like they're guessing too, trying to figure it out. And it's been a struggle all through the year. I mean, Lucas what did he have, like 7 DNPs in the non-conference or something like that at early conference season, and now all of a sudden he's playing 30-plus minutes a night. So it isn't like one day he just became like, he figured it out one day.
Yeah.
There wasn't some insider, some light bulb that went on for him. I mean, you can say he gradually improved, but he didn't go from not playing to playing 30-plus minutes overnight. And so what happened? Well, I think it's because they really didn't gauge what they needed and understand the impact he could make on the floor for them.
Yeah, and I don't think they gauged that he was already better than what they had in place of him at that time.
I think we tried to tell him, though, didn't we?
Yeah, we tried to.
We tweeted it quite a bit.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
He's not on Twitter that often. I know the assistants probably are a little bit more. But, Brad, what do you think of this matchup tonight? I think Illinois played one of its better games of the year up at Evanston. I know they barely won that without Scotty Lindsey, but Scotty comes back tonight. But how good is he going to be? What do you think of this matchup?
Well, Lindsey, I think if Lindsey's 100%, I think I probably like Northwestern in the matchup just because he's kind of a difference maker kid, and he can do some things. He played 24 minutes Saturday, I think it was, and had 6 points. One of his lowest minute output, his lowest point output of the season. So he didn't look very good, to be honest. So he ought to be a little bit better today, but I think Illinois has, being at home, if they can play like they have been playing, and they guard the way they guarded up in Evanston, because again, Northwestern, Vic Law's very athletic, but you really don't look at their other guys, especially with Lindsey out, and say, boy, this guy's athletic, or this guy's just. So Illinois can guard them. I mean, they can keep them in front. They can, do some things defensively that maybe they can't do against some of the quicker twitch teams. So this is, I think it's a good matchup for Illinois. I think they can win this game tonight. you got to play defense. I mean, and it comes down to executing defensively and making sure that they're in the right positions and doing those things. Kind of the mental side of the defensive game, making sure they're executing their game plan, making sure they're not allowing Max Touch to go off and get those clean looks coming, don't go under ball screens, things like that. So if they do that, I think they'll be okay. Northwestern does defend well, so Illinois is going to have to get some ball moving, and we've seen that, though, with Lucas on the floor. The ball seems to move a lot better. It doesn't get stuck as much, and so if that happens, I think Illinois can pull this one out.
Brad, last one for you. Do you think Josh Whitman's already made up his mind?
I don't think he. I think he pretty much. Here's my take. I think he knows what it may have to do, and I don't think he's totally made up his mind, because I think he's always. I think he really likes Gross. I think he respects him. I think he's a quality. Thinks he's a really quality person. I think we'd all agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think that you'll find anybody who doesn't like John Gross around the program. All guys who interact with him, but I think Whitman is just. I think he knows what he may have to do, and so I think he's preparing for that. And if Gross wins the last four and wins a Big Ten tournament game or two, and they sneak in the tournament, I think Josh Whitman might feel okay about not having to do it. But I think right now he's already he knows what he needs to do, and he's already going through back channels to make sure that he makes a good decision here.
Well, Brad, I know that John Gross didn't listen too closely to all of our tweets about Tijon Lucas, but if Jalen Tate's getting significant minutes tonight, just tweet loudly, if at all possible.
Do I use all caps? Is that louder then?
All caps, lots of exclamation points.
Or hit your keyboard as loud as Mark Tupper does when he types, because that's pretty loud.
He can throw it down. He definitely damages that keyboard. But I'll try and tweet louder, and maybe somebody will listen then.
Sounds good, Brad. Brad Sturdy, orangeandbluenews.com and @Sturdy32. Thanks, Brad.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Brad. See you tonight. I guess, can you pod me up over here on the PCL? And I think you need to hit that top button there, Carp. Grab one.
Got it.
I guess Mike Wilbon at the end of, pardon the interruption. Shout out to Illinois a little bit.
I'm trying to do better the next time. I'm Tony Florenheim. I want to crush the Illini down there in Champaign. I'm Mike Wilbon, same time tomorrow, Knucklehead.
He wants to crush Illinois down in Champaign.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm disinterested in Mike Wilbon.
Mike Greenberg was at the Northwestern game.
I know all the stars come out.
Yeah, they got all the media guys.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, her son, I think, is a walk-on on the team, right?
Yeah, Northwestern loaded with famous
all
alumni.
the stars are coming out. Fairweather fans, bandwagoners.
All right, Harry was the only one that got this right last time. Does Illinois win tonight?
Should we quickly go around the table?
Yes, Carp.
I'm going to reverse what I said yesterday. I'm not going to get fooled by a win like that at Iowa. Northwestern wins.
I think they break the streak. They win back-to-back games.
Oh, my God.
I'm going Illinois wins.
Can we ask the guys in the studio?
Austin, who you got?
I got Northwestern by 7.
Okay.
Ooh, is Tyler in there? Tyler Knight, you got Illinois?
I'm going to go with the Illinois victory on this
All
one.
right, we're split.
Split. Okay, Harry, you were the tiebreaker.
You're the vice president here. What do you got?
Being the only one who was right last time, I'm going to go with Illinois.
Ooh.
There you go, 3-2, Illinois.
Me and Austin are outnumbered here. I could totally see it, though.
All right,
I am as torn with predicting this game as I have been any game this year.
This team's the worst to predict sometimes.
You don't even need to add to predict at the end of it. No, I'm kidding. They aren't the worst. They're just not good enough, and that's the frustration, right?
Yeah, probably. So we're going to do our superhero movie draft coming up because Harry had some hot takes that Spider-Man is better than the Nolan trilogy of Batman movies. But we got to pick a wins above a replacement guy. And I threw out Aramis Ramirez. Let's go crazier. I haven't looked this up, guys.
Okay.
We're going to go a pitcher. We're going to go a closer. It should be near and dear to Cubs fans' hearts. Rod Beck.
Wow.
The career wins above replacement of Rod Beck.
Okay. And by comparison's sake, what was Maglio Ordonez? 37?
He was 38 something, I think.
Okay. I have a pick.
All right.
We'll do it when we come back.
So whoever gets closest gets to make their pick, and then we'll do our superhero movie draft 4 rounds deep.
All right, let's do it. Tay and J Show.
Check out the new BMW Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days. Mortgage loans and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time for a change in Urbana. We need new, positive leadership. On February 28th, we need Diane Marlin for mayor.
I came to the University of Illinois in 1971 as a freshman. Through the course of my time on campus, I got involved with a number of community issues, particularly related to environmental issues, met people in the community, and in the course of all that, I discovered what a really great place Urbana was. It's been over several decades of living here and raising our family. We just grew to love this community. My philosophy has always been, you just roll up your sleeves and you get to work. You can't solve problems sitting at a desk, looking at things from a distance, and you don't learn unless you are actually out in the neighborhoods, listening to people and seeing what the challenges are. I'm completely convinced Urbana can grow and thrive.
Diane Marlin for mayor of Urbana. Diane will be a mayor who makes Urbana a better place to learn, live, work, and raise a family. Vote for Diane Marlin for Urbana mayor February 28th.
Paid for by Citizens for Marlin.
The Upper Bout in Champaign, a music store with a different kind of attitude. Their showroom features high-quality brands from Gibson, Martin, and Taylor guitars to Vox, Mesa Boogie, and Analog Outfitters amplifiers. The Upper Bout's expert staff will personalize your experience, answering every question and setting up your guitar exactly the way you want it. Whether you're a lifelong musician looking to add to your collection or a lifelong music fan looking to buy your first guitar and take up lessons, the Upper Bout has you covered. Stop by the Upper Bout on Neal Street in Champaign next to El Toro, or visit them online at theupperbout.com.
Napa know-how.
Back at New Year's, you made a resolution to save more money. Just so happens, Pennzoil's family of oils are on sale starting at $3.49 a quart. So you can check Save Money off your list and bask in the glory of actually seeing a
Bonzo, with the Urbana Police, our law enforcement official of the month. Police get a bad rap, particularly today. It's, you guys are human beings. You wake up every day. You want the best for our America, our society, our city of Urbana. You want all the good things, and sometimes they think that police are out to get people. That's just not the case. That's fake news. That's not true.
You're very correct. That's what a lot of people don't realize is we have our own problems too, but, we turn those off. We go to work. We try to help as many people as we can, and we have to go back home and do our thing too.
Yeah, and so your favorite part of this is what?
There's so many different things that I like to do. I like chasing after people, sometimes driving fast, just getting to help people.
Whatever it takes, but some people, to me, that's like bungee jumping, Betsy. I'm not interested.
Well, this is as far as I'm going to get.
You'd probably be a bungee jumper. You're not afraid. You've got courage. And Betsy, congratulations.
Thank you.
Effie Moran supports our law enforcement official of the month.
Now that I've joined Audible, my train time has turned more, intense. As I listen to Zachary Quinto narrate The Dispatcher.
I was the direct and immediate cause of his death. That's who I am. That's my job. I'm a dispatcher.
And I'm an accountant.
Get The Dispatcher free when you start a 30-day trial at audible.com/actnow. Audible. Turn anytime into story time.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It's the annual superhero movie draft on the Tay and J Show.
In the not-so-frozen tundra of Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, 5 young men sat together in a room. And because they couldn't do a certain draft yesterday because the subject material was R-rated, they decided to do something a little more PG-13. It is the 2017 Tay and J Superhero Draft.
It is time, and we predicted the career war of Rod Beck. And Carp, you came the closest.
Yeah.
It was 11.2, and you cast 11.7. So you decided to draft first. I know who you're going to take.
Okay.
Austin was next closest. He decided to pick second. I was third closest. I decided to take the turn pick in our snake draft. Harry decided to go third. Tyler is going to draft fourth. So, Carp, kick off our superhero movie draft with the blatant number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Christopher Nolan fan, but it goes without saying my number 1 pick is The Dark Knight.
Congratulations, Ryan Grigson. You drafted Andrew Luck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Austin, who you got?
All right, I'm going with the first major team-up ever created on cinema. I'm going with the Avengers as my first overall pick.
Over Iron Man? Interesting.
The Avengers feels like you drafted the linebacker.
It was the culmination of a lifelong effort in phase 1 of Marvel.
You drafted the multi-Pro Bowl linebacker.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it, with the number 2 pick. But I think you could have gone a higher ceiling. That's all I'm saying.
That's okay. Here's number 3.
Harry.
I really thought that Austin was going to take this. I'm going to go with The Incredibles.
Wow. Going to Pixar animated already.
I thought
like
he was
it.
going to go another one, the thing that started this whole conversation.
I think he thinks it can go into the second round.
Maybe.
If The Incredibles was taken right there, I would have. But now I'm going to press my luck.
Okay, well, you can't go wrong with Pixar.
Tyler, the 4th pick in the superhero movie draft.
I didn't even have this one wrote down because I figured Harry would pick it right away. But I'm just going to steal it from him. I'm just going to pick Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2,
Ooh,
okay.
I did like Doc Ock. He was awesome.
Good call. Was that Willem Dafoe? No, that was Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
Right.
Willem Dafoe was the Green Lantern.
That's it.
He was pretty
Not
good
Green
at that,
Lantern,
too.
Green Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm pretty pumped about this. There are probably better movies, but I'm going to take the tandem at the turn. I'm going to take the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
What?
With the 5th overall selection.
Okay.
And with the 6th overall selection, I'm
Don't take
taking
the sequel.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Ooze. Yeah, I got the combo. I feel great. I feel great about my draft.
You know, I had Secret of the Ooze in my back pocket in case it slipped to me in round 4.
You got the Lopez twins.
I think you may have overdrafted.
I feel great about it. This is my draft. I drafted my system.
You know what he's playing to? He's playing to all the commenters on Facebook that are going to give him love for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
These are my favorite 2 superhero movies besides Dark Knight.
Wow.
And it's the same thing, Harry, with Spider-Man.
I just remember
this is nostalgia for me.
Okay. Well, I just remember watching those movies and wanting to eat pizza.
And I was not going to get them 8 picks or 10 picks later.
You would have
in the
gotten
3rd round.
Secret of the Ooze in the 4th round.
No, I would not.
I'm
have.
pretty
now, the
certain
question
about
is, does he go with the 3rd Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the 3rd round?
That's a good question.
Tyler?
I gotta go Iron Man here. It's just a classic for me.
All right. Yep. Cannot go wrong with that. That is a very strong second round pick.
That's a first rounder that slipped into the second round.
Good call. Austin, right?
No, Harry.
Harry, I'm sorry.
I really have no problem with Tyler taking Spider-Man 2 because I love Spider-Man just as much, so I'm going to pick Spider-Man.
Okay.
The most quotable movie of this draft, by far.
I don't know. If somebody takes Batman and Robin, that's pretty good. All right, we got Austin.
All right, I'm going to go with probably the best X-Men movie, X-Men Days of Future Past. It was a phenomenal film. Wolverine was great in it. And that Quicksilver scene, oh my gosh, if you haven't seen that, that is cinematic gold.
Okay.
I haven't seen that one yet, though. I kind of do. I kind of want to see it.
It's brilliant.
X-Men, good series. I like that one.
Okay, I have not seen all these movies, but I'm going to go with what the critics love and the fans love. Guardians of the Galaxy.
You haven't seen this and you're taking it?
Yeah. Screw that. I'll take Batman, 1989.
There you go.
Tim Burton's Batman.
And then on the turn, I'll take Batman Returns.
Batman Returns?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the second one?
Oh, sorry, Batman Begins.
Oh, you're going to take Batman Begins?
I'm taking Batman Begins. Taking Batman Begins, and The Dark Knight.
I see where you're going with this.
I'm diversifying.
Austin.
All right, my next pick, I've got to go with the movie that had the best soundtrack of every single superhero movie I've ever seen, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Great pick.
I thought you were going to say Catwoman.
That's a very good pick. Harry, you're up.
Okay. So
We could go 5 rounds here, boys.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, if we need to. We can do it.
I'm going to go with an X-Men as well, but I'm going to go with X-Men 2 or X2 or whatever it's called.
Okay, X2. Solid choice.
That scene at the end where Jean Grey holds the damned water back while the ship gets away gets me every time.
The sequel might be better than the original.
You know, I think Famke Janssen is one of the most underrated actresses.
She's a Bond girl.
Oh my God, Xena on the top.
Great.
Mm.
Goldeneye.
Tyler?
I gotta go Dark Knight Rises here just because I just like it. I just like all the action in it.
It's phenomenal, Tyler.
Yeah.
It's an entertaining film.
I just love the way that Tom Hardy plays Bane in
so
that
good.
movie. It's
so
just,
good.
It's breathtaking.
It's really good, Carp. That's what it is.
Well, teach their own.
All right. Do you want to go 5 rounds? Should we go 5 rounds?
We have 5 minutes, so we got to go quick.
I think we could do it quick. All right. I'm going to take V for Vendetta.
Wow.
With my 3rd round pick. It's a phenomenal film. With
That counts?
With what's his name?
Yeah.
That is a great critic's choice.
And then with my 4th round pick, I will take Unbreakable.
Good choice. Good
M.
4th
Night
rounder.
Shyamalan.
Mm-hmm. Just saw that last week. Good flick.
Really good one.
Yeah. I guess he Split. I've heard good things about that movie.
All right, Tyler, you're up.
This one, I gotta go Thor here. That's a good one for me.
All right.
Harry?
Okay.
4th round pick?
I know the rest of these none of you guys are going to pick, so I'm just going to go with Batman Mask of the Phantasm. One of my favorite movies, animated, superhero, anything. Just one of my favorite movies ever made.
Okay.
Is that the Joker? Is that Mark Hamill in that
Yeah.
one? Yeah, I hear he's really good.
Who may be the best Joker?
That's what I hear.
That's what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
Austin?
I can't disagree with that. I will have to go with Captain America, the Winter Soldier. It was a spy thriller movie, something you will never see in the superhero genre. Just a great, great movie.
Carp, you want to do 2 picks here quick?
Yeah, sure. I will go with... This is tough, guys. I haven't seen nearly as many of these as I thought. How about we go with Batman Returns?
You just stuck to this. I like it, Carp.
And then I'm going to close out, controversial as it may be. I won't go Batman and Robin because that was a terrible film. But I think the original 1967 Batman the movie with Adam West and Burt Ward and literally every Batman villain, as campy as it is,
I like your draft, Carp.
is worthy.
I really like your draft.
So yeah, I have what is it? The Dark Knight, Batman Begins,
Batman Returns, and the original Batman.
Batman the movie. Okay.
Batman draft.
Hey,
I like my team.
He's the best superhero.
Listen, I'm like Bo Ryan. I got a system. I'm going to fit the pieces into the system.
All right, Austin, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to break the 4th wall. Talk to the YouTube members. Hey, I'm going with Deadpool. Yeah, you heard me. Deadpool.
Well played.
Good. That was going to be my pick. If it
is Ryan Reynolds just the most good-looking guy in the world?
In that movie.
And of course, he's with the most good-looking woman in the world, Blake Lively.
You'd really like that movie.
Yeah, I got it on HBO. I need to check it out.
Harry, your last pick is?
My last pick is, not because of the movie, but because of the comic, Watchmen.
Okay.
Good choice.
Good flick. Is it worth seeing?
It was okay.
Read the book first, then see the movie.
Okay.
It was okay.
Tyler.
I got 2 kind of stuck in my head here. It's between Green Lantern and Daredevil. I'm gonna have to go Green Lantern. I just like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively in that movie together. Just
started it all.
I like Blake Lively in anything.
The Town. She's in The Town with a terrible accent.
I know, and they try to make her look really nasty, but it didn't work.
Did not work.
You can't pull it off, yeah.
With my last pick, I'm thinking of going with a comedy from the 90s. Do you remember Mystery Men, Cart?
I do. I thought you were going to say Meteor Man with Damon Wayans, but yes, I do remember Mystery Men.
Do you remember Mystery Men?
Mystery Men was amazing.
I'm going with Mystery Men.
Wow.
I'm going Mystery Men.
An upset pick. Mr. Irrelevant in the draft.
Why
the final
not?
pick of the 5th round.
Hank
Mystery
Azaria
Men.
is the Fork Man.
Ben Stiller, right? Is he in that?
Ben Stiller's in it.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Janine Garofalo bowls her dad's skull.
That's right.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
Mystery Men. Okay, so what are the teams looking like?
All right, Cart went straight Batman. All Bruce Wayne. Dark Knight, Batman, Batman Begins, Batman Returns, and Batman from 67.
I like my team.
Austin, pretty good team. The Avengers, X-Men, Days of Future Past, Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Deadpool.
Solid.
I think Austin's going to win on Facebook.
I think so. That's going to be 2 in a row for Austin, I think.
Harry took The Incredibles, Spider-Man, X2, Batman Mask of Phantasm, or for Phantasm, Watchmen, Tyler, Spider-Man 2, Iron Man, Dark Knight Rises, Thor, and Green Lantern. I will get a D by most people, but I love my draft. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Secret of the Ooze, V for Vendetta, Unbreakable, and for some comedy, Mystery Men.
You have a Wisconsin draft. You have a Wisconsin recruiting class.
I do. I feel great about it.
Yeah.
We're going to coach them up.
Well, I basically just collected a bunch of wing players, so it's not the most well-rounded team. But everybody loves Batman.
You got a Bruce Weber roster.
I got a Bruce Weber roster. I got a bunch of Michael Henrys and Devin Langfords on the team.
Hey, thanks to our guests today, Brad Sturdy, as well as Cody Westerland. If you missed any of the show, get the podcast at ESPNCU.com.
I'm going with Austin tonight that Illinois loses. The other 3 of you guys are going Illinois wins. We will see. I will be at attendance at State Farm Center, and I'm not sure how loudly I'll cheer, but I'll be there.
I think we'll hear from Juan tomorrow. He's going to be here?
He's going to be here.
All right.
Probably very red, very tan,
Yes.
and probably have a weekend voice like he's never had before.
Might not know anything that's going on.
That's
Probably
nifty.
Tay and J Show.
For 20 years now, Hickory River has been the most popular barbecue across central Illinois, featuring pulled pork sandwiches, baby back ribs, beef brisket, low-fat turkey breast, and hickory smoked chicken wings. It's the fan favorite. Whether you're planning a party or just having some friends over, you can count on Hickory River's experience and award-winning food for caterings, large order deliveries, and carry-out orders. Help celebrate 20 years in business by enjoying some real Texas barbecue from Hickory River Smokehouse. In Urbana at 337-1656 or visit hickoryriver.com.
Hey, Champaign County, it's Stephanie Pratt, Coldwell Banker Honig Bell, your realtor that rocks the real estate market. If you like to rock, then you're going to love this. I've teamed up with ESPN Radio, and this week I'm giving you and one of your coolest rocker friends a chance to go see Dawkins and my man, the Jack Russell's Great White in Effingham on Saturday, February 25th. Hey, there's a bonus. We get to rock a limo to and from the show with my friend Dwayne at Bishop Platinum Limousines online at bishopplatinum.com. It's so gonna rock. So sign up to win today at espncu.com.
Hey, Champaign-Urbana, want something new for lunch? Try a Jetsy from Jets Pizza. Their famous deep dish pizza dough, baked into a golden crust and layered with the freshest ingredients. Try one at either store in Champaign for just $6.49. Life is short. Eat better pizza. Let's get
Jets. As the leader in fire protection and security systems for industrial, commercial, and residential buildings, MatGo features exceptional protection. MatGo installs, maintains, and inspects fire sprinklers, alarms, CCTV, security systems, and access controlled systems. Their vigilance is a must-have priority to protect your assets. MatGo's digital monitoring and veteran personnel are your best security investment. Their 24-hour emergency service ensures that you are covered at all times. Contact MatGo at matgofire.com.
One thing we all have in common is the inherent trait that we want our money to work hard for us, as hard as we work to earn it. If you're looking for a great rate of return on your money with quick turnaround, check out the 11-month CD special at the Prospect Bank. They're offering an 11-month CD special at 1.01% interest with a minimum of $1,000 to open. The Prospect Bank is making your money work harder for you. A division of Edgar County Bank and Trust Company, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC. The one constant in life is change. Throughout our lives, we go down roads that we never imagined, and we need to be prepared for whatever comes our way. Want to own your future? Contact Country Financial Representative Jesse DeHaan. Jesse can help put a solid plan in place with insurance solutions to help make sure you're protected for whatever lies ahead. Get started today. Contact Jesse DeHaan in Champaign at 352-3466 for Country Financial.
Live from the Habib BPC Studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.